And recording and chat on live chat. Oh, yeah, that would help. Oh, shit. Ah, shit. Yeah, but still, there's a lot to say about that. So, something I forgot to do last time, it's a huge mistake on my part. I forgot to introduce everyone. So, yeah, sorry about that, everyone. Going from left to right, there's me, of course, with the owl icon, Pagan, President Manblast, and Setch Dreskar. And Setch is really the only other one here that has YouTube or Twitch or anything to share. Links for those are in the description. Well, that's kind of where I wanted to start off, actually. What do you think? What do you guys think is going to be in this video based off of what we saw last time? Oh. Uh. Oh. Shit. Uh. Yeah, the audio for the headset isn't working for some reason. Oh god, it's fucking disaster already again. It's always a disaster. I'm sorry, everyone. Why is this not... Testing, testing, hello?
Well, test 1, 2, 3. Let's see.
Yeah, there,
Yeah.
the audio's showing up. I don't know why the audio wasn't showing up for you guys.
Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, really sorry about that, everyone.
Oxhorn, more like Fathorn, am I right, fellas?
But yeah, I was gonna say I'm just interested to see if he'll call us diseased again.
I had to take a real guess what one of his points might be if I had to fathom, if I had to go for a Scooby in this whole thing. Having retcons allows for new and exciting things to happen, or something like that. Like new things we haven't seen before can suddenly come in. I think
Yeah.
That's what I would have to guess.
I think that's the only way in the realms of logic that he can make an argument like this. But who fucking knows? It's Oxhorn.
Yeah. So, let's get started, I guess.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Oxhorn, and today let's talk a little bit about alleged contradictions in Fallout 4. You all know that I love...
Okay, so...
Wait, isn't this about that there are serious lore-breaking contradictions? Isn't that why you made this video?
Well, the fact they say alleged makes me think he's gonna argue that they're not actually retcons.
That's I
what's
know.
Especially with, like, the
Curious about
smug way he says it, too. The alleged, contradictions.
It's like, what the fuck?
I feel like he's gonna contradict himself. I feel like he's gonna say like, well, there aren't actually any lore-breaking stuff in Fallout 4, but I'm also going to defend them in this regard. That if they had done this, it wouldn't matter anyway. It's like, oh my god, like you're gonna fuck up on two different sides here, man.
Yeah, I don't get it. Why you're making a video where it's as if you agreed, like, hey, there are lore breaking retcons in here, but I'm gonna explain why that's not bad. And then you immediately start with allegedly,
Yeah.
which you're I think he's gonna try to disprove that they are. Which, oh boy, it's like the other video all over again. It's a defense of Fallout 4 where you barely talk about Fallout 4.
Fallout 4, but it's that my viewers have with Fallout 4 is how it contradicts the established lore from previous Fallout titles. Now, I want to make a distinction between contradiction and retcon. A contradiction only takes place when two things cannot be true at the same time. Let's say a blind man asked two friends to describe a zebra. One friend says it's black. The other friend says it's white. This at first appears to be a contradiction, but it's not. Both of the friends...
Okay, both of the friends are fucking retarded.
I know, that's not...
What?
This is a terrible argument, like...
What?
I don't know how.
My brain. We're already getting into this shit where my brain hurts.
How do you fuck up describing what a contradiction is?
I'm starting to worry now that Setch was right. This is gonna just say there are no contradictions.
Yeah, I'm
But I mean, there
real-
factually are the ghouls. Kid in a Fridge, Necropolis.
Doesn't the ghoul thing contradict itself within the game?
Yes, it does, because
Ghoul
ghouls...
settlers need resources.
Yes, ghoul settlers need food and water to, like, it's part of the mechanic. And I know they can exclude them because the robots in that one settlement are excluded themselves.
What's weird, and I like that Buzzard's also picking up on this, is it's black and white, not one or the other. Again, the people that the blind man asked are idiots.
Yeah.
You can't. This example is already fucked from the start. Holy cow.
friends are correct. Zebra is black, but it is also white. The zebra is both...
No. It is wrong to say it is black when it is black and white. Like,
Yeah, it's wrong to say it's white when it is black and white.
Exactly.
Those are incorrect statements.
black and white. That's not a contradiction. Instead, the blind man simply got two different true answers. Here's an example of a contradiction.
No, it's not a true oh my god.
Weren't true, as we just explained. I mean, granted, he can't respond to this or anything like that, but yeah, those are not true answers. Those are literally false answers. Like, the true answer is black and white, or if they said white and black, doesn't matter. Same exact thing.
A blind asks his friend, "Can you see stripes on the zebra?" And the friend says, "No, I can't." The blind man then asks, "Well, then how do you know that it's black and white?" And the friend responds, "Because I can see the stripes." That's a contradiction. He can't both see the stripes and not be able to see the stripes at the same time. Now, a retcon can be contradictory, but it is not always contradictory. A retcon, or retroactive continuity, happens when an author alters what was supposed to be a fact of lore established in a previous piece of work.
So a contradiction.
So, yeah.
Your altering effect.
So that is
So-
actually a contradiction. Like, what you just said is 100% a contradiction.
Yeah. Because you can change lore in such a way that it doesn't contradict anything. Like, in the Vault experiments was something added in Fallout 2, right? I've seen people refer to that as a retcon, but even then I wouldn't consider it a retcon because it's adding to the lore. It's not...
It was adding.
Yeah,
That's how I view it.
it's adding.
Yeah, expanding the lore and taking deeper dives into different aspects of it are not retcons. But when, as he specifically described it, a retcon is when you alter a fact about the world of it. Oh, so now this is our retcon. The zebra is now all white. Yeah, it's no longer has stripes. There you go. We contradicted what we said before, where zebras have stripes. Oxhorn, I don't understand your Like, you did it again in the other video where Bethesda doesn't rely on modders, and then a sentence later, Bethesda relies on modders. It's like, what the
Yeah.
Now, a Wikipedia article on the topic, there are 4 different kinds of retcons: addition retcons, alteration retcons, subtraction retcons, and temporal compression retcons. But for the purposes of this video and for Fallout 4, I only want to talk about 2: addition and alteration retcons. An addition retcon simply fills in missing details about the lore. These details had not...
Alright, who calls it an addition retcon? Who?
He's saying this is what Wikipedia describes it as.
Yeah, I want to know who are real people that call filling out lore and filling in some of the blanks and gaps in a story or lore is a retcon.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never seen that. Because anytime I've seen
if it's a okay, you go.
Sorry. Anytime I've seen retcon be used, it's typically for something that's being changed or removed. It's like, here's a significant part of the lore, and now it's different. The game or movie or whatever has contradicted what's already been established in a pretty significant way. It's not that, hey, we expanded on the lore and added new stuff to it, because that's not a retcon. That's just expanding lore. Like, what?
Okay, so, like, here's an example. Whatever you feel about Rogue One, it's expanding the lore. It's not a retcon. There is nothing in Rogue One that is a direct retcon to anything else in the Star Wars movies. Now, I don't think Rogue One's all that good, but there is nothing that directly contradicts it. In fact, it actually explains a major plot hole in the original movies of why is this really weird specific weakness in the Death Star? Well, a traitor within who in the engineering team put it there on purpose.
Yeah.
So again, that is not a retcon. That is filling out a blank and, in this case, explaining a plot hole.
For me, even if I give it to him that it's a retcon, I'm willing to give it to him, sure. The thing here is, the issue we have with Fallout 4 is not the fact that they're adding stuff. The issue is the fact that they're direct contradictions. Enclave power armor appearing in pre-war areas, jet, vertibirds, and so on.
Yeah.
It's not adding new content. And even if there is this amazing lore excuse they have of like, oh, this is a pre-war variant of Enclave power armor, or this is a pre-war variant of the vertibird, or Myron lied. It doesn't change the fact that I still feel it's kind of just lazy, bad writing that just feels like a band-aid to make up for the fact that what was put here makes no sense.
Yeah. They just want to use the established things and not have to worry about what came before. It's the same issue with Elder Scrolls we were talking about yesterday on the Half-Life stream.
Yeah. Oh, God. And Engage points out, Creetosis, calling it an addition retcon has the same energy of Matten's ludonarrative harmony argument.
Yeah, I was going to read that one out.
People are saying God Howard is going to get us.
Yeah. And screw Todd Howard. We've called him Todd the Liar Howard for decades for a reason, guys.
In previous games or previous books, which may have led readers or viewers to make different assumptions about the world. But since those things
Okay.
So, an assumption is just that. It's an assumption. It is not a fact written in stone. Like,
I think that's going to be the main point of his argument throughout this is you assumed. It's the same thing with the perfection. You can't expect perfection. The lore is fine because everyone assumed it was a certain way. That seems where it's going.
yeah, and I have this horrible feeling like they assumed that Enclave built the power armor after the war. They absolutely did. They tell you this. They assume that, like, oh yeah. Oh, I don't even want to get started. This is going to be painful.
had not been clarified in works, the author takes the opportunity to explain those things in a contemporary work. In this way, these new details may explain things that had been set in stone in previous games. Addition retcons are not contradictions. They simply add to the world.
Okay, and I'm gonna say here, addition retcons don't exist. Stop.
Yeah, it's.
Even his explanation is not a retcon. That's fleshing out the lore. That is not an
Oh.
addition retcon.
Someone in the chat saying volume of the video is really low, so I'm gonna try to. How is the volume of the guests? Because
Okay. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1
Testing.
2 3.
no, because it's a bit complicated. If I raise the volume for what's coming out of my headset, then it'll increase all of your volumes, but it'll also increase the video volume. So
Yeah. But that's what I mean. Was we can, since you asked how was the volume, that's why I was just testing it. See what they would say. A little low. Guest volume is fine. A little lower. Sorry, is what Master of Raw says.
a little lower. All volume is fine. Video volume is fine for me. Guest volume is on the lower side. Okay, well I can turn it up a bit. That should hopefully be better.
But anyway, what I wanted to say about this is that even if you're in my boat, where you know, let's just give him the fact that an addition retcon exists. Sure, that's not really applicable in Fallout 4, if you ask me, because
Well,
like I said, it's
he's
just there are direct contradictions.
He now has to explain how it's applicable. That's why he specifically picked these two. He's cherry picking retcons and these specific two because he's going to explain how this is perfectly fine. So now he has to explain how all of this stuff is an addition retcon instead.
Well, that's the thing too. Is I think the whole point of including addition retcon is to try and make retcon sound like a less dirty word, because addition retcons are a good thing. They're adding to the lore, but it's just adding to the lore. It doesn't need to be called addition retcon, because like retcon has a specific meaning.
This is some hardcore double speak here going.
It's possible for an addition retcon to exist in the world before the new piece of work was published. So to clarify, if Fallout 4 creates an addition retcon, this retcon must be able to exist in the world of Fallout even if the game Fallout 4 had never been created, because it does not contradict with any of the other established lore. An example...
What?
Okay, I'm trying. All right, let's listen to his example real quick, because I'm in a. What the hell what salad did you just say?
I think he's saying.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's listen to his. He says he's about to give an example. He's like, an example is, and I'm very curious how this is gonna work, where a thing that didn't exist in the lore exists in the lore way back when.
No. What he's saying is, it's not.
Now.
I think he's basically trying to say it's not an issue if it could have been added without Fallout 4, but it just comes across as word salad. Like,
yeah, I guess that's the confusion, because from what it sounds like to me, he's saying is this addition retcon. If Fallout 4 had never existed, this thing still exists in the universe, even though it has never been written or added at all. It still exists.
well, no, what he's saying is it could have been added without Fallout 4. So, like, let's say there was a lore book in between, or a movie, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just not Fallout 4. I think what he's trying to say is, in a roundabout way, that people think it's an issue because it's Fallout 4, but this lore could have been added or changed or whatever without it being Fallout 4, and that's fine?
Maybe. Let's hear his example.
Of an addition retcon is the Deathclaw. The Deathclaw has evolved in the Fallout universe ever since the very first Fallout game. We all know that the Deathclaw is actually a mutant Jackson's chameleon. The Jackson's chameleon is a three-horned chameleon native to East Africa, but recently introduced to America. You can find it in California, Hawaii, and Florida. The United States government researched the Deathclaw before the war, which is why we find a Deathclaw head inside the RoboBrain factory, but it was actually the Master who refined the Deathclaw by subjecting them to the Forced Evolutionary Virus, or FEV. Now, we learn early in the lore of Fallout that the chameleon does not have vocal cords and has lost its ability to change color. The problem, of course, is that the Deathclaws in the world of Fallout 4 have an ear-splitting roar, and at high levels you can come upon the chameleon Deathclaw.
Okay, so chameleon deathclaw, it doesn't matter. You can just say that the subspecies. That's not an addition retcon. That's just a subspecies. And two, not having vocal cords doesn't mean you can't like scream and roar and everything like that. It's like the big lions can hiss, or big lions can roar, big cats, but little cats hiss.
I just want to see where he's going with this because I have nothing to say here.
Well, I'm also
Yeah.
curious how he's talking about how they have no vocal cords when Fallout 2 would like to have a word with you.
Yeah.
Nah.
Not only do they have vocal cords, they're intelligent and they talk in.
Yeah, let's see where this is going.
This can change colors during the course of a fight. What's the deal? Is this a contradiction? No, I argue that this is an addition retcon. And I say that because scientists in our own world frequently retcon reality. For example,
No. Fuck you.
What?
Oh my god.
Scientists can rewrite our actual reality, and they can retcon our reality. It's like, no. No, they just discovered like more accurate information. It's not a retcon, you massive land whale. What the hell?
Oh my god. It's like thousands of years ago, people thought praying to the moon or to the sun or whatever would fucking cure their diseases. And then we find out that's not true, so we change our records. Oh yeah, praying to the sun? It doesn't actually do anything. That's not a retcon! You're not
Sorry, man.
retconning the
It's a
world!
retcon. Sorry,
I
it's
know,
an addition
dude.
retcon.
Dude, no. You don't understand. The scientists are just that powerful. We're clearly mistaken here. Scientists are so powerful they can literally rewrite the fabric of reality on a whim. They do it every day, according to Oxhorn. I don't even like. Oh my god.
Wow. How the fuck do you say that?
Who knows? God, is this another stream of conscious thought video?
It might be. I'm already getting Star Wars was not influential vibes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Somebody asked if Dr. Fauci is a mage. Somebody said Isaac Newton's responsible for nailing us to the ground.
Oh god, yeah. Oh man, that's always like those jokes I made. Like, whoever the hell invented gravity? If we go back fast and kill them, we all float, right? Whoever invented the common cold, we go back in history, we wipe them out, and it doesn't exist anymore, right?
For hundreds, scientists thought that the Laotian rock rat was extinct. They thought it went extinct 11 million years ago. But recently, they found the Laotian rock rat living alive and well in 1996. Similarly, scientists thought...
Okay, but that's not...
That is not a
Oh
ret.
my
I think I know
God,
where he's
it's not
going.
a
with it.
retcon.
I think I know where he's going with this. I think he's maybe trying to say that people can be wrong about things, so these established facts we have may not be correct.
Yeah, so it's just going back to the assumptions thing. Those scientists assumed that it was extinct. Then they found one.
To his very first words, allegedly. Oh boy.
Yeah.
And that's still a dumb argument because you can literally just say from like in any kind of franchise that has previously existing things, you can just say, well, they lied. They lied in that game. See? See, it's different now, so they
And yeah,
must have lied. And it's like, no,
I'm
you
gonna
don't
get
assume.
into it more if he actually does go down this route.
I
Okay.
am very curious.
Yeah,
This is
People are saying that
terrifying
my
already.
audio is really loud.
your audio. Let me grab that quickly then.
So Oxhorn is taking the Matin approach here of making a video about a Fallout game without talking about the Fallout game.
But I'll get into it more if he actually does go down this route of, even if he's right, like I said before, it's just lousy writing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all comes down to being a good, as Buzzard says, yes, Oxhorn, scientists can be wrong. They admit it so themselves. That's about being a good scientist, is being wrong isn't a bad thing. And I hate that, like, so much of schooling in society has taught people that if you're wrong, you're a terrible person. No, if you're wrong, that's a beautiful thing, because you have more to learn.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, hey, at least this is going a lot faster than the previous video. We're already 4 minutes and 15 seconds in.
Oh, it's because he hasn't made ludicrous claims. He's just made weird ones where we're trying to figure out where the hell he's going with them.
Hey, I'm just trying to look on the bright side. We're almost a quarter of the way through already.
Woo! Oh my god, it's the land speed record.
That the chimpanzee was extinct. They only knew the animal by its fossils until they discovered the animal alive and well in 1975. Scientists weren't lying to us when they said that the Laotian rock rat and the Chicoan peccary were extinct. They simply hadn't found any evidence showing that they existed. To tie this back into Fallout 4, we only think that the chameleon can no longer change colors because we haven't observed it to do so. It could be that somewhere in its genetic code, the Deathclaw still retains the ability to change colors during extreme circumstances, which are so rare that we only ever find them happening in Fallout 4. We can...
Okay. So, if it's extreme circumstances that's so rare, they only happen in this one game, in this one area, we can actually start piecing together that this might be a subspecies. Okay? Again, with the way that evolution works, branches off of a species happen for one reason or another. There are millions of reasons why a weird thing would change. And one change in the DNA could be it reactivates the color changing portion of their scales and everything. I don't know why this is a whole it's a addition retcon nonsense. This is a really weird argument to go in.
Yeah.
Was this an argument that these completely contradict all the rest of it? I guess if it's every single Deathclaw, that makes sense. That would be a contradiction. That's way too many for what would be a subspecies.
Yeah, exactly.
Red unit, blue unit, green unit, Deathclaws.
I'm curious to see if he will actually address any of the actual retcons that people take issue with.
I
Because
did
right now
want to bring up.
it seems like he's not talking about anything substantial, and I don't think he will.
I never really cared about this Deathclaw stuff.
I don't either. Like I said, this is really easy to explain, and it wouldn't even be like a contradiction or a retcon. It's just, yeah, it's a subspecies. That's not hard to say. It'd be like the lake lurk versus the mire lurk. It's a subspecies. Who fucking cares?
Yeah, I've never heard anyone complain about the Deathclaws. I've heard people say oh, they look like Diablo or whatever, from the Diablo games. But I'm like, but most people say it's just the style. It's a style change. That's not really a retcon or anything. It's just a style change.
Yeah.
I complain that they deballed the Deathclaws. They aren't scary or intimidating anymore because they give you fucking power armor in the first 10 minutes and you whoop one's ass.
Yeah.
That's a way to emasculate what's supposed to be the apex predator of the fucking waste.
I will admit though, when I played this game, and I wasn't wearing power armor, obviously, when they would run after me, and you could hear them stomping behind you, like it would actually make me like jump a little bit of like try to get into a doorway just to get away from them because the sound of them running was enough to make me kind of like I don't know, just something about them being behind me and me being able to clearly hear them running up on me and being way faster than me, and the fact that if you're out of power armor, they just grab you and kill you. It's like I don't know I'm not gonna rag on them too hard about that. Now I will say yes, the giving you the power armor at the beginning of the game really declawed it was so stupid. I will never understand why they give you power armor at the start of the game. That is the dumbest fucking thing. It's supposed to be something you work towards. You're not supposed to be given handed.
I feel like power armor was also neutered because of the fact they gave it to you so early.
That's
yeah.
the thing with the power. We talked about this in Mauler's Discord. Was they had a built-in mechanic for power armor to make it really good. That the power armor in Fallout 4 is already in pieces. You have a shoulder piece, the head piece, the rig chassis itself, the chest. Like, how much more interesting would it have been if power armor wasn't super easy to manufacture and instead you were gathering up pieces you found, and that could have been major like quests or things like that, or trade opportunities to get, I need that shoulder piece, I need that leg piece. And then at the end of the game, after doing all these quests and exploring all this stuff, you now have your power armor. So you wouldn't need this stupid power core nonsense and stuff like that. And
really
in-game thing.
And they could have made it. And they also could have
built
made it where it's like, if you wanted the power armor sooner than that, join the Brotherhood. It gives you an incentive to join the Brotherhood, because then you would be given a full set of power armor if you like advanced it. Now, obviously, I don't think it's like it shouldn't be as soon as you join the Brotherhood, you get the power armor. It should be you join the Brotherhood, you move up through the ranks up to Knight, and then you are given a full set of power armor.
Oh, trust me, Buzzard, I hate the fusion cells as well. I hate them so much.
And that's the thing too, is that they values power armor as something special if you just get it right away. Like, just to give a comparison, in Fallout 1 and 2, the first time playing it without a guide, it takes quite a while to get to power armor. Once you get it, holy shit, it's such a great thing to get. Like, it's so beneficial. It's like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm this huge fucking tank now. Or take Morrowind, where you're likely not to find a constant effect enchanted item for a very long time. But once you stumble upon one, it's like, oh my god, look at all the benefits this thing gives me. Because it's special, you had to work towards it, and it Fallout 4 makes power armor fucking common, because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So, I have two tangents. Real
Oh
quick.
boy.
The first one's super simple. Make sure we're on live chat. And not
Yes.
top chat.
Yes, we are on live
yeah.
chat.
Yeah, I forgot because, again, this feature's dumb.
It's super dumb. I
But-
hate it.
Tangent number 2. I need to bring up specifically what Scout Trooper said. Also, Emil's philosophy of KISS comes from a U.S. Navy design philosophy originating from 1960. So he's using a military design for storytelling designs. KISS is keep it simple, stupid. So, moral, don't use military design philosophies as your way of doing storytelling for fiction or world building, especially for RPGs. KISS is actually a great way to do storytelling and everything. Because there gets a problem of where your concept is too high concept. And you can no longer see the forest through the trees.
Yeah,
So,
I do feel in the
KISS is
context of
fine. It's
Fallout
just
4.
when you settle for the stupid part of KISS.
Yeah.
That's when there's an issue. When you think the stupid S is high art, that's when you have an issue. But KISS overall is fantastic. It's a fantastic philosophy for life. Like, don't overcomplicate things. You really don't need to.
Yep.
I was gonna say, because I feel like in the context of Fallout 4, he doesn't even really seem to follow KISS. The plot itself is not completely straightforward,
Oh, it's convoluted as fuck.
because you have so much jumbled around and screwed up to work in this plot twist.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wonder if he'll get to an actual retcon, which is the fuel cells and fucking power armor.
Oh yeah,
And
I
the
wanted
fact-
to bring
yeah.
up the Fusion Core retcon.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get there. Like these things that are still powering buildings and city blocks for 200 years, stick it in your armor, and they last for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those things I find insanely. Why are these generators even fucking there if all they do is power the light above them? Like,
I agree,
like,
Scout.
let's take the power cores out of power armor completely and just keep the generators. There's so many things you could do with that for like puzzles and navigating the world where you could sacrifice a power core to a generator to open up a pathway to hidden loot or a shortcut or whatever else.
And let's not forget, in the past, you had to learn how to wear power armor. It wasn't just a thing you could do. You actually had to have a skill for it. You had to be taught it.
Well, that was introduced in Fallout 3, solely for this. I believe solely for the sake of limiting how early you get power armor, because even Bethesda in fucking 2008 was like, yeah, we can't let the player just have the super powerful equipment early on.
Yeah, but I mean that makes it worse then because they're contradicting themselves. They're not even contradicting, 1 and 2. They're contradicting their own previous game.
Well,
Yeah.
as we discussed on the Half-Life stream yesterday, prepare your butts, Elder Scrolls fans, because we're gonna explain why Bethesda's operating philosophy of it's all made up and nothing is actually canon is really terrible.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that eventually.
And they're doing the same thing here in Fallout.
Yeah.
Explain the roaring in a similar way. Jackson chameleons are incredibly tiny creatures. As creatures get larger, they make more noise. They make more noise when walking. They make more noise when breathing. It's quite possible that air can escape from a Deathclaw's stomach and pass some sort of fold or muscle that causes the Deathclaw to make something that sounds like a roar. That is, just because the Jackson chameleon does not have vocal cords and cannot make a noise, does not mean that a highly evolved Deathclaw, doused with the FEV, should not be able to make noise. Especially when we learn that the United States military mixed the Deathclaw with a bunch of other animal stock, not just the Jackson chameleon. With the genetic material from so many different creatures inside the Deathclaw, there's really no telling what this creature could do. In fact, the biggest issue that I have with the Deathclaw is that it lays eggs. Jackson chameleons don't lay eggs. Jackson chameleons carry their young for between 5 and 6.
Okay, so that doesn't fucking matter because
This isn't
Deathclaws, one,
a contradiction.
have always laid eggs. Why are you complaining? They laid eggs in
Yeah.
Fallout 1. They laid eggs in Fallout 2. In fact, you actually get to see a full-on nest with the mother in Vault 13. Like, yeah, this is... Why is this a problem? But then you're like, them not having vocal cords and they still make noise. We gotta defend that. It's like...
Yeah, what?
It's like... You even yourself said of how they make noise, so why are you defending...
Yeah, he's
What
literally
is
just
this
complaining that it's not the Jackson's chameleon. It's like, yeah, we know. It's a fucking different species entirely because it's
'Cause
fused with a bunch of
obviously-
different things.
Obviously, this thing that's 15 feet tall ain't this little thing I can hold in my hand. I'm sorry, Oxhorn. I wasn't smart enough to realize these are two different things.
Yeah. This is so dumb. Oh, it can do this thing that the Jackson chameleon can't do. Yeah, because it's clearly not a fucking Jackson's chameleon anymore, you idiot. Look at it.
Oh god, and he's like, why does it lay eggs? It's like, it's always laid eggs in the Fallout universe.
Oh,
Like, who fucking what?
this is some top tier like retardation. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty asinine what he's going with so far.
Oh, trust me, if you think Elder Scrolls was retconned in ESO, whoo boy, no. Elder Scrolls is a retcon fest, just mess at all.
He might be referring to I don't know what his official title is. It's Lawrence Schick said that the Elder Scrolls games themselves are not necessarily canon, but there's an asterisk next to that because it's not as simple as that.
Well, it's not as simple as that because Bethesda made it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go grab that super chat quickly. $50 from Lil Boof Pack. Thank you. Just found your channel a few days ago and I love the content. Much love, brother. Thank you. Glad you're enjoying it.
I like that
Hang on,
name.
idiot removal from the chat.
Idiot removal?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's been in the comments of one of the videos going on about you can't talk about objectivity, blah, 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 blah. It's all subjective.
oh,
Same
yeah,
old, same old.
He's an absolute moron, yes.
Oh my god.
God Howard wants y'all to beg for forgiveness.
God,
Never.
my nut.
No, too bad.
Beg the chess club for forgiveness.
Imagine still thinking today that objectivity just doesn't exist. My god.
Well, let's just say there's a certain subsect of people that really try to claim it doesn't, because if it
Oh,
did,
I know.
their entire life is a fucking lie.
And then give birth to between 5 or 10 live Jackson chameleons. They are not oviparous, they do not lay eggs, and yet in every Fallout game where the Deathclaws are depicted, including the very first one, the Deathclaws lay eggs.
So he fucking acknowledges
why-
it!
Why is it problem for you,
I can't
Oxhorn?
Oh
get
my
over all these
God.
Todd Howards. The Todd Howard shit in chats.
God, Howard will smite y'all down.
All I have to really say about this so far is like, listen, I don't really care about the Jackson Chameleon stuff. That's it. I want to talk about the major issues people had with the game.
Yeah.
If Oxhorn has a great excuse about Deathclaws, that's great, I guess.
It's not even a great excuse, because it's like way over explaining something that's easily explained. Like, it's just a subspecies. Move on.
Yeah.
Like, this is, again, it's Mire Lurk versus Lake Lurk. They're just subspecies. Move on.
Yeah. Get to some substance, please. No one cares about this Deathclaw shit. It has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, like, get to some of the actual retcons that you say allegedly are retcons. Get to those.
Yeah.
So this is one of those just gotta throw up our hands and say, we don't know what sort of animal genetic cocktail comprise claws. We believe what we see. And we see a Deathclaw that can roar, lay eggs, and change colors. Another addition retcon that has been bugging a lot of people is the existence of the T-60 suit of power armor. Now,
Yes, because it was invented
Bang,
out of nowhere,
okay.
so they could have a new set of power armor in the game.
Yeah. How did they make this armor? Where did it come from? Who designed it?
Like, the official lore reason is, oh yeah, this one was one that was rolled out last second right before the war, but, like,
Okay, so
it's been
we need to
established
explain
previously.
how- we need to explain how actual military rollouts work for equipment. There's this weird philosophy that was like, it was designed here, so they'll have it, within the month. It's like, that's not how military rollouts work anywhere. Dude, we're talking years and years and years of slowly and painfully, in most cases, phasing out the old to put in the new.
Yeah.
We're going from, like, the M1A1 Abrams to the M1A2 Abrams. We still have a shit ton of M1A1 Abrams, okay? Even though we're now onto the M1A3 prototype phase. It's, oh, good God.
Not to mention, because it mostly has the Brotherhood wearing these things. And the Brotherhood in this game are from Washington, D.C., from Fallout 3. It's literally the same chapter. Yet somehow they've all upgraded to this new power armor that did not exist there at all.
Yep.
Like, they might have been able to have done something where it's like, oh, well, this was a prototype armor that can only be found in this place, and there's only a few sets of it. Because that's all that was ever made, and it never really got shipped out to the military in time, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, that could work. But they didn't do that. They just put it everywhere, gave it to a faction that isn't even from here, who already have it, and they just establish it as this thing that's in the world everywhere. And it makes no sense.
I think we mentioned before, you also could have just said T-60 was post-war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You literally could have said the Brotherhood invented it. That would have been fine. They are a faction who knows power armor, know how to maintain power armor and create power armor, they could have made this.
But the problem is, they wouldn't be able to show it off right at the beginning of the game then. Because, the soldiers outside the vault, one of them has power armor, or a couple of them do. And it's the new power armor.
So Scout Trooper points out, also, why would the military soon develop the T-60 after they just got done with the T-51 and replaced the T-51 after only 1 year of service? Yeah, guys, when something gets adopted, it tends to hold on for a long time because money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to go back and read a comment quickly because I really liked it. I think Oxhorn's tactic is to endlessly babble about something pointless in order to make his audience just give up and go brain dead.
Yeah, it feels
Seems like the
it.
tactic.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the M4. We still use the M4. Look at all the new guns we have. We still use the M4 as our main military gun.
Do you know how long it took any branch of the military to adopt the M416?
Well, how long was the M1911 in service for?
Oh yeah, decades,
Yeah.
decades. And again, that was one where it was desperately obsolete, and they still had problems changing to a better firearm. It's not that it's bad, but it's like it's a 7-stack pistol that has way too much firepower and recoil for its own good.
Yeah, it also has a loose firing pin that's known for if you drop it nose down, it will go off.
Yeah, oh boy. The AR-15 was made in like 1959. Yes. Well, a variant, and oh boy, we can get into. I love the history of the AR-15 because there's weird conspiracy level nonsense when we want to talk about how stubborn the military can be. They actually sabotaged the trials for the M16 when it was first introduced.
Wow.
Yeah, they full on like even opened the guts of the gun and welded like bits and bobs that weren't supposed to be welded, so it would malfunction and everything like that. When they came in to figure out like why are the guns exploding on the test range? Like what is happening? Then they got some of these guns that had been tampered with, and they're like, what the fuck? Because they're like, no, we want the M14 to stay in service forever.
Wow.
Because, again, it is really hard to get things changed.
Yeah. Especially once the soldiers have, like, adopted it and they like it, it's really hard to get them to change to anything else. You have to really win them over to do it.
I will disagree with you, Vanderpool, that the M4 sucks. I think the M4 is a beautiful and amazing weapon.
Yeah, I love the M4.
The problem with it, and it's a thing that happens to. This is the reason it happens to servicemen, but civilians have this weird sense that military grade means it's top of the line, high quality. This is 0.01 minute of angle firing guns, stuff like that. No, what military grade actually means in the real world is this thing has been in the armory 250 times within the last 3 weeks. Because the soldiers don't take care of it, it's getting beat to hell, and it is being abused constantly. That's why a lot of military guys think the Beretta sucks. And then you get a civilian Beretta, and you're like, oh my god, this is a beautiful, amazing gun. It's like the best handgun I've ever fired. What the hell?
Yeah.
Because your Beretta that you are used to in the military is military issue.
Yeah, military surplus tends to be very, very ragged. It's on its last legs once you get that stuff.
Yeah, ask the guys that work the armory, and they will let you know why so many people think that their weapons suck. And it's because they kind of do, because, again, they have to crank these puppies out.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, I'd rather have an AR-15 over an M4 if I had the choice, simply because single fire weapons, semi-automatic weapons, I should say, are typically better suited for almost all types of engagement, other than maybe like super close range. But even then, it is like the military themselves are even starting to move towards semi-auto weapons over full auto.
No, that's actually not true. The Marines are still going fully more and more into full auto. Like, that's especially what the M416 upgrade was about, was it had to have full auto capabilities and everything.
Yeah,
It was
but they've
required.
talked about it, is what I mean. Like obviously they're never going to do it. They're never going to actually move towards a only semi-automatic weapon. But they are like
They
they do
can't
talk about
because
using the
urban
M4.
combat.
Yeah, they are
Yeah.
talking about like using like the M4, like use the semi-auto. It has to have like a semi-auto option because that typically is the better option to choose.
No, that's not why they have the option. Just because it's just dependent on the engagement. If you're in an urban combat, you're going full auto. If you are in a field plinking away at somebody, you want semi-auto.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said.
No, but you're saying it's the best option all the time. No, I'm
Well,
saying
not all
it
the
is
time. I just said like not obviously not in like close quarters combat.
Yeah, but that's not even talking close quarters. I'm talking urban combat, like
Well,
down the street stuff like that. I'm talking anything like that. You want full auto.
I don't know if I agree with that. I've shot enough guns to know that full auto at a distance is at even medium distance is terrible. You're very likely just going to waste ammo.
The-
So I don't know
that
if I
doesn't
agree with
matter.
that.
That doesn't matter at all. Wasting ammo.
Well, I know the
does not
military
matter.
doesn't give a shit, but I'm saying
No,
it's still the
keeping the
better
other dude's
option.
head down and pinning them is what matters.
Well, yeah, if you want to suppress the fire, but that I'm not
That's
talking
the
about
name
that.
of the game. That's the name of the game in the military.
Okay, well, we'll settle on that.
Like,
Anyways,
we're not talking high accuracy stuff here.
Let's get back on topic, and we did get a donation.
We did.
oh,
Yeah, we went way off.
100. I guess that's rubles. Thank you.
That's what I would guess.
From Azure Fairy. Honestly, I got a heart attack just because of the title of the video. Is he even a human? It's good we have our Creetosis to save us. Damn. Thank you.
And Elijah pointed out that this video was made before Oxhorn played the originals.
Oh wow. There you go. Yeah, no, we're actually EFAP because now you got people on the cast actually going back and forth. We
I know.
graduated.
Yeah.
I know very little about guns and military, so I'm leaving this to you too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
same here. I'm Canadian, so I've never held a gun. I've never seen a gun.
Oxhorn, I gotta get you firing some weapons. They are magical things. They're beautiful.
I've got a few Canadian friends who have some like SKSs and stuff like that.
Dude, if you think it's Americans and their guns, you have no idea about the rest of the world.
Yeah, I mean, Canada was really upset about that. Like, they banned the AR-15 there or something, and they were like up in arms about it. Like, they were ready to like just say, "Fuck it, we're just gonna start shooting cops that try to come and take them."
Yeah.
Wow.
And like the biggest ones are the Scandinavian countries actually have some of the biggest shooting cultures in the entire world. Like, holy cow. Yeah, I want to actually go to Finnish brutality one day. I think that would be so fucking cool.
Yeah.
Granted, I will probably have a heart attack by the end of it and be like, Dad, kill me. Put a bullet in me, I'm done.
Anyways.
If you believe that this is a contradictory retcon, I'm not going to hold it a perfectly rational position to hold. However, I don't think that we have to believe that it's a contradiction. We can easily explain the existence of the T-60 suit of power armor as an addition retcon. Now, the reason many say that the existence of the T-60 set of power armor is a contradiction is because in all of the Fallout games previously, the most advanced version of power armor before the war was the T-51B suit of power armor. Annoyingly, even in Fallout 4, we find a loading screen that says that the T-51 series of power armor was the pinnacle of mechanized protection before the Great War.
Yes.
So it seems that we've got a contradiction.
Okay.
Yes,
so,
we've got a major contradiction that Fallout 4 itself, you just said, contradicts.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's annoyingly for you because, yeah, it absolutely shatters your argument here.
Well, it seems almost like a copy-paste job for that loading screen. It's just, this is the most advanced power armor before the war? Yeah, let's just throw it into the loading screen.
Yeah, they didn't even think about it. They were just like, "Oh wait, that's right. We added a new thing. Well, oh well, we're not even gonna fucking bother."
Yeah, this edition retcon is still very oof.
Oh.
turn, the T-51 is the most powerful suit of power armor, and yet we've got this T-60 suit of power armor, which is clearly superior. What gives? Well, the T-60 suit of power armor never saw combat. The United States...
It does not matter if it never saw combat. The
Yeah.
loading screen even says the pinnacle.
Yes.
It does not matter if it never saw combat. It's clearly not the pinnacle anymore if the T-60 existed.
And if T-60 existed, you'd think it would have been looted from, like, military checkpoints and bases and stuff. Like,
Yeah, you'd
it
still
should be
see it
mixed in with all the other sets.
Yeah, and if it never got deployed into the military, why would it be so widespread? Why would it be everywhere?
Yeah. Anyways. Father Illogical, please stop spoiling the thing. I wanted to see their initial reaction to that.
military Anchorage, Alaska, and defeated the Red Chinese wearing the T-51B suits of power armor. But when they came back home, they were then deployed domestically to keep the peace.
So they're deployed.
What? Okay, wait, what? Did he just say they weren't deployed?
He just
Didn't it
contradicted
say-
himself.
wait.
Oh my
L-
god.
let's
They
go
never
back and hear
saw-
that again.
Clearly superior. What gives? Well, the T-60 suit of power armor never saw combat. The United
Combat.
States military
Okay.
defended Anchorage, Alaska, and defeated the Red Chinese wearing the T-51B suits of power armor. But when they came back home, they were then deployed domestically to keep the peace.
So it doesn't matter if it saw combat or not. It doesn't even matter if it was deployed or not. It was there. It existed. They were making it. So that would be the pinnacle of power armor at that point.
Yeah, like,
And even then, he's trying to make a difference between being deployed at home and seeing combat. That doesn't matter in the slightest.
yeah, if it's still a better suit of armor, it's still a better suit of fucking armor. Oh, man.
During this time, the United had been working on the successor to the T-45 suit, which became known as the T-60. Because this was a recent innovation, no soldiers ever used it in combat against the Chinese. Instead, soldiers who were used as peacekeepers against their own citizens used the T-60 suit of power armor very briefly before the bombs dropped in 2077. This then raises the question, well, if that's the case, why didn't we hear about the T-60 in any of the previous Fallout games? And why did all of those games list the T-51B as the most advanced suit?
Because it's a contradiction.
Because they actually fucked the lore. It's a full retcon, and it contradicts what came before it, Oxhorn.
I was gonna say something, but then I remembered I think it was like a Canadian broadcast, so maybe it wouldn't count because it's not America. But I was gonna say like in Fallout 1, they have the clip of the people in power armor executing someone in the street, and it's like that's a domestic thing, and they're clearly wearing T-51B, but that's Canada, so maybe it doesn't count. But still, if they have that, if they have that there, if they have T-51B there, then wouldn't they also have T-60?
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make sense. It was literally just bullshit to introduce a new power armor for the cover.
Well, I thought if the armor is just completed, period, doesn't that make it the pinnacle?
Yeah.
Yes,
They were using it.
That's our point. Is that
As he says, they were
practice done.
using it.
Yeah. It doesn't have to see combat. If he even says they were deployed, it just didn't see combat.
Yeah.
That makes it even worse.
Oh, I like how in his defense of like how things are not contradictions, he contradicts himself.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that with how new the T-60 suit of power armor was. Much of what we learn about power armor Vault-Tec. A lot of the records that were kept by Vault-Tec, and many of these records were old. If the United States military had just released a brand new line of power armor, it may be so new that Vault-Tec had not been able to update their records, which talked about pre-war technology, before the bombs dropped.
Okay, so spoiler alert again for how military rollouts work. Vault-Tec would have known about this years ahead of time because, like I said, it takes a long, long time for it to go through the prototyping phase, to pass all the field trials, and then go back and forth between whatever military branch R&D is now arguing with whoever manufactured its research development group. So, you've got that going back and forth, and then it finally gets put up for approval. Then they have to slowly start building the factories that now have to start ramping up production to make it. Like, this is not a quick process.
Well, it gets even worse than that because the Brotherhood, the original Brotherhood that started in fucking Mariposa, moved to Lost Hills, they were military people. Why would they not have T-60 power armor? Because it didn't fucking exist.
Yeah. And but his whole thing at Vault-Tec, it's so new, Vault-Tec wouldn't know about it. It's like, if it's that new, then these literally should be like prototypes. Like, there should be like half-finished things if it's that new that Vault-Tec doesn't know about it.
They certainly wouldn't be deployed domestically across the U.S. That's for damn sure.
Oh god.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense either. Why would you deploy your top-of-the-line newest equipment when you're in a war against your own citizens when you have plenty of other power armor that's absolutely still functional and...
I know what Father Logical was talking about. Father Logical says, Pete Hines at Bethesda said they aren't going to respect the lore of the original games for 20 years ago. I forget precisely how he worded it, but he said something to that effect. Yes, he said, we're
not going to be beholden to something someone wrote 20 years ago.
I think Madden brought this up.
Yeah, he did in his Fallout 4 video that we covered.
Yeah, and he even, Pete Hines also said that we now are producing Fallout 3 as if we made the first two games, and here at Bethesda, we've always been willing to change things, and we're not afraid to go in and make huge changes to what's been established beforehand. And that's why, if you ever see that making a Fallout 3 video, big middle fingers to every single person in that video.
Oh, yeah, hey, this guy brings up a good point. Abdulio, I don't know how to say his name. You see the T-60 getting repaired in the military in the intro, so that's clearly battle worn. So yeah, in the intro, it clearly saw combat. So he's wrong.
Yeah, so he's just flat out wrong.
Man, Bethesda's intro keeps fucking them over repeatedly because it's Bethesda's lore that Nuka-Cola only started like in the 2040s or the 2060s or something like that. But there's a Nuka-Cola shown in World War II era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot that literally it shows a soldier in T-60 getting it repaired in combat, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about that. So he's just flat out wrong. Oh.
No, you don't get a Pagan. If he ignores all the facts, he'll be right.
Yeah.
Pink Han says Pete Hines, nice, is a god awful PR rep. He's so shitty. Yeah, but
getting fucking snippy with your customers, like, fuck, what was that tweet? It was like, I'm not going to discuss realism about a game that has ghouls and talking mutants. Like, really, dude? You're going... It's basically a Space Wizards argument.
Yeah, but he's an executive. He don't know. He don't know how stupid that is.
Yeah.
Robbed. Find any T-60 power armor outside of the Commonwealth? Well, we learned from the terminal entries at Fort Strong that the Boston area was used to research and develop both the Fat Man and the T-51 suit of power armor. If a research facility like Fort Strong in Boston, Massachusetts was used to research the T-51 suit of power armor, it's likely that this same facility was used to research and develop the Hush Hush T-60 suit of power armor, which may mean...
So,
wait.
Bit of an issue here, though.
It's Hush
Oxhorn,
Hush.
you're gonna lose your shit when you learn where the Brotherhood of Steel's from.
Yeah. So, if it's hush hush, why was it deployed domestically? If it's hush hush, it's in the public, it's in the open. It's deployed. There are people with cameras and like just even photography. Like this ain't hush hush no more. Oxhorn, what are you doing?
Hey, keep this little piece of information a secret, but we've got vehicles that can move at high speed on tires. They're called cars. Don't tell everyone else about them. It's top secret, guys.
Somebody's asking what role Pete Hines has in the Fallout games. He's the Bethesda's PR guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's really fucking terrible.
Yeah.
If Pete Hines can't answer questions without being a smartass like that, then he shouldn't be the PR guy. No, I think he's a perfect fit for Bethesda. I mean, you've got Todd the Liar Howard, you've got Emil Can't Write to Save His Life. Like, dude, he's like a perfect fit for a company that has very little talent.
But yeah, so I guess Ox just contradicted himself again. So it's deployed, but hush hush, it's a secret.
Yeah.
Fucking
but it's
what?
deployed. Yeah. Oh man, it has to be stream of conscious. There's no way he wrote this down.
Mean that the T armor had a limited release only to soldiers in the Boston area keeping the peace in Boston, which would explain why we see United States military.
Okay, this is before the war. Okay? Do you understand, Oxhorn? Before the war, lines of communication were still a thing. Radio and TV broadcasts were still a thing. If people see the soldiers of Boston in new armor, that shit is gonna be known and spread around. It ain't hush hush to deploy it into the public's field of view. Oh man.
Soldiers wearing T-60 suits of power armor outside of Vault 111 at the beginning of the game. This may also help explain how the Brotherhood of Steel got their hands on the T-60. The only ones in the game who use the T-60 are the Brotherhood of Steel. Everyone else uses T-45, T-51, or Raider. Why is...
Okay, so that makes even less sense because the Brotherhood comes into the Commonwealth during the game. They already have it.
Yeah, they had it before
If
they got their Oxhorn.
If this power armor was deployed exclusively to the Boston area, then other groups should have already taken them and started using them or fixing them up. Like, it already makes no sense that you can find power armor frames all over the fucking place that are out in the open or behind a simple locked door.
The fact there is Raider power armor at all is a big no, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up earlier about because that was part of my thing about like needing to be taught that how to use it, but yet we have raiders running around wearing fucking power armor in this game.
Oh, and as capitalism says, oh shit, the U.S. military got pre-order bonuses.
A lot of T-51, T-45, and Raider power armor out there. Up until this point, the T-60 was not even existed. My bet is that the Brotherhood of Steel came swooping in on the Pridwin, and one of the places they raided was either...
The Pridwin? The Pridwin.
The Pridwin just stealthily came in, no one noticed.
Why did he call it the Pridwin?
I thought that's how it's pronounced in game.
Is it? Oh my god, if that's how it's pronounced. Man, I have gone crazy.
But yeah, that still doesn't make any sense. So, we're in 2287, and 210 years after the war, and no one at all ever fucking picked up on, oh, hey, this power armor, this T-60 power armor, this super cool, like, very important armor that's insanely good. Yeah, we're not going to deal with it. We're not going to fix it up. We're not going to use it. We're going to just ignore it. And, oh, look, the Brotherhood came along and took all of it, and now they're fucking everyone's shit up.
Yeah.
Someone with the username God Howard just popped in to say hello, my children.
No, he did pronounce it right. Okay, my God, so I am the one that's pronouncing it wrong because I thought it was the Pridewin because of how Y can change what vowel sound it is because it's a fucking English is a great language.
Although I think someone brought up, it is surprising he pronounced that correctly.
Yeah, apparently that's
he doesn't have a great track record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess let's continue. That was me. That was me. My bad, guys.
That's fair enough. You see the word, it looks like Pridewin, but yeah.
Yeah.
They do say it in the game a couple of times. They do say the Pridwin a couple of times, but unless you really like pay attention during the Brotherhood of Steel stuff, you won't really notice.
I guess because I try to avoid the Brotherhood of Steel. Again, I haven't even beaten the game. I can't bring myself to beat the game.
It's
I
not.
avoid the Brotherhood at all costs.
It's genuinely not worth beating, but I think the Brotherhood is the best faction by default. That's not saying they're necessarily good. It's just that they're the least awful.
Yeah.
My messengers have told me y'all have been talking bad. I'm sorry, God Howard. Don't punish us. Don't make us play Skyrim again.
Don't worry, God Howard can't punish us because it won't work. He'll just say it just works when he casts his punishment.
Go back to the chess club, you dork.
Oh.
Now who's
They got the T-60 suits of power armor that they used for the Brotherhood, or an unmentioned storage facility in the general area, possibly attached to Fort Strong, where T-60 was stored. We learned from Paladin Dance that the Brotherhood now has the ability to manufacture T-60 power armor, and they could probably only do that if they actually captured the original facility that manufactured the T-60 power armor. So here's another example.
Okay, but even the fact that, like, it's just an assumption on his part that Fort Strong is manufacturing power armor. Or, sorry, T-60 power armor. $2 super chat from Ray Serrano. Thank you. There aren't any contradictions if I... There aren't any contradictions if I don't see any. Yeah, right.
Or if you just have a really great excuse to come up with.
Oh man! And again, like all of this goes away if they had just said it was post-war and the Brotherhood manufactured it.
Yeah.
I think people
They
genuinely would have
had
liked
the
that.
capability. Yeah.
People would have liked the fact that it shows, things are moving along, even on the East Coast.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, again, we already made the sin of the Brotherhood of Steel even being on the East Coast, so fuck it. Just at least make it where they would actually do what they do, research the technology, improve upon it for their own purposes and usage. Oh, God.
Necessarily have to believe that this is a contradiction. It simply could be an addition retcon. The Fallout 4 are fleshing out the story of power armor. They're telling us things that we just didn't know before.
Okay, but...
that they contradict in their own game.
Yes.
Yes, they contradict in their own game, but you notice how he's saying, it could be this, it could be that. Well, he's just assuming.
Yeah.
If this is the case, why do the developers mislead us then with these loading screens and all this information from previous games?
Yeah.
Exactly, but not
And
just
it doesn't
that. If you're
explicitly state this previous information is inaccurate, it just sort of says, "Oh, there's new armor."
Yeah. But more than that, if you're at the point of doing the writing for the writers, then I'm pretty sure the writing is fucking shit. Like, this seems to be nothing more than speculation and guesswork at best. Oh, it could have been made here. It could have been something that happened off screen. This could be what's happening. Well, coulda, woulda, shoulda. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not explained, so...
Oh no, don't feel bad if you used to watch somebody. Like, again, it's that whole thing where maybe that day you just liked to listen to it as a podcast on the side. You weren't really paying attention. Like, shit happens, dude.
I used to watch him.
It's if you realize what he's done and then you start defending him like vehemently. That's when it's like, okay, you might have a problem at that point. But no, it's fine to like be like, oh man, I can't believe I did this back in the day. It's like,
Yeah, don't worry, man. I used to watch
life
him.
is fucked,
I thought he actually made decent videos, but his voice annoyed me. Then then some of the stuff happened, and then I looked further into him, and then I was like, oh, yeah, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
All of the information that told us that the T-51 suit of power armor was the most advanced is all still accurate, it's all still correct.
No, it's not!
No, it's not.
By the very
And it's
fact
not.
T60 exists, that information is incorrect!
Yes. Oh man.
That is a contradiction, Oxhorn. That is what a contradiction is. Not two morons saying a zebra is black and saying a zebra is white.
Yeah.
Scout Trooper just said, Oxhorn will blow us away with one puff of his cigar.
Oh man. And what's crazy is he would have actually had a better time of just saying that the past games were mistaken. If he had tied it into his scientist argument, then again, his baffling scientists, where scientists retcon our reality every day.
Oh my god.
Like, he actually would have had a better point. It would still be a bad point, but it's better than this, where, no, they're still accurate, 100%. This just thing that contradicts it isn't actually a contradiction, because I said so.
Yeah, that's basically all it is at this point, because I said so.
Simply because the T-60 existed, because the T-60 was so new. Now, an example of an alteration retcon, a retcon that actually contradicts the lore, is the way power armor is used. In previous versions of Fallout 4, you actually had to get power armor training from the Brotherhood of Steel, for example, before you could wear it. In Fallout 4, they completely changed the mechanics of power armor. In previous games, you did not need a power armor frame. They were not powered by fusion cores. Both of those are completely new inventions. And yeah, this does contradict the previous games. There's no explaining it, there's no getting around it, but
Sorry, what the fuck is he doing there?
I don't know. He's just jiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Like, oh yeah, wiggle, wiggle that power armor, baby. But thank God he didn't try to make the argument of, but your character was a soldier and would therefore need it. Because then immediately it's, yeah, but if you played the female, you're a lawyer.
I
Okay?
was gonna bring up the fact that in Fallout 1 and 2 you didn't need it, but I think Elijah brought up that Oxhorn had not played the classic games.
Yeah, but you could still look up if that's the case or not before saying in the previous games you needed power armor training to use power armor when it's not. When
Yeah, I
you
was gonna
factually
say,
didn't need it in the original
chose
two
he didn't-
games.
He didn't bother looking into this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go grab that super chat quickly. $5 from Static Nexus. Thank you. Only thing I liked about Fallout 4 is better looking Deathclaws and Assaultrons, because I have a crush on Ada and Cleo. Huh.
Apparently, a lot of people do. If you ever watch Mike Burnfire, they installed some very interesting mods.
No.
Oh boy.
Oh, yeah,
no.
they turned into my big titty robot girlfriend.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
The Oxhorn experience.
But what was funny was the one guy didn't know that it had been installed, so he looks at Ada and she turns around and he's like, "What the hell?" He's rocking like a triple D cup.
What the fuck? Why?
Jeez.
And Mike starts just laughing his ass off. It's like,
Oh,
I made some improvements to our robots around the base. And he goes, wait, our robots around the base? And then he runs over to another one and sees they're on all the different robots.
I love those guys. They're so funny. I'm pretty sure I know where he's gonna go with this. He's gonna say like, "Oh, well, I can't defend them. Like they're clearly contradictions, but they were better changes. Like we shouldn't care." And it's like, no, they were not better changes. They were shit. They were dumb.
And as we mentioned, these changes weren't necessary. The issue was the fact you gave power armor to the player in like the first hour of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought he was gonna go for. That's what most people go for, infamous cloaker videos, is that, yeah, but you're a soldier. You have power armor training already. It's like, that only works for one of the two playable options.
Yeah, and it doesn't explain, like the Atom Cats or the Raiders who are also wearing this shit. Like, how did they get military training?
Yes. Oh, it's so fucking good. Those two are goofballs. Gage is talking about how in one episode, Mike installed an Enclave sex android mod, and he forced Zach to have sex with her
Wow.
because he likes screwing him over. Of course, he usually gets shot right afterwards, but still.
Well, at least it's not bare titty mods in a lore video.
Yeah.
It's, totally not relevant to the person we're covering, I swear.
We understand it. You see, fiction authors,
Oh, yeah, here he
and
goes.
comic book authors, and video game makers will sometimes use an alteration retcon to improve upon something that they felt was limiting them. Each new Fallout
boy.
game has got to be different. It can't just be a recycling of everything we found in the previous game. That's gonna get boring. The
Am I psychic or am I psychic? Did I call this one or did I call it?
The existing lore is too limiting, so we have to change it, even though it's not
You gotta
actually
have
that
new
limiting.
things.
There's lots of room to work with.
Yeah, retcons are good because you gotta have new things. Oh man, baby.
Oh.
Holy crap, I nailed that one on the head.
Yeah, that's
so bad. You can add new things without retconning the old. Holy cow.
okay. So, just to give an example, there's this little game called Fallout New Vegas. They had a faction called Caesar's Legion. We've never fucking heard of them before. They had Mr. Host. I'm pretty sure we didn't hear about Host before New Vegas. They're entirely new additions to the fucking series, and they don't retcon anything. They don't contradict anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. House may have been mentioned before. Emphasis on may. I don't know. Because Robco existed beforehand.
Yeah. It's just that previously they might... Even if he was mentioned,
His
they
whole
didn't...
personality, though, that's completely new.
Yeah.
And, like, the whole, I'm in a stasis chamber for 200 years, that's new.
Yeah. It's funny because you could have even said, okay, Oxhorn, there's this game called Fallout 2 that exists that added on to the universe and didn't retcon things from the first game.
Yeah, they added the Enclave.
Yeah. Guess what? It's a new thing. Doesn't retcon the old. In fact, it actually explains the vaults. Like I said, fleshing out the lore is great. Because in Fallout 1, a big question people had is, why are some vaults getting water chips and other vaults are like told to suffer and stuff like that? Like what is that? And then Fallout 2 comes on and explains what the fucking deal with the vaults was. That's not a retcon. Oh god.
The creators need to feel like they're free to come up with new ideas.
They are free to come up with new ideas, you fucking... Oh my god.
The problem is
Someone
that Bethesda don't do it. That's why
Someone-
we had the Brotherhood again, the Enclave again, the Super Mutants again, and 3.
Someone named Mirthful brings up the fact that the new Fallouts can't recycle, while Bethesda has recycled virtually everything from the first two games.
Yeah,
That's why
they
it's-
always do.
If it's not recycled from a previous game, it's just recycled from Blade Runner and Terminator.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
How do you say that, though? That, like, this doesn't even apply to the Death Claws or the power armor, because it's like...
Again, that Deathclaw argument, I think, was literally just to fill space.
Yeah.
Someone confirmed you were right. House was first mentioned in New Vegas.
Alright. That's what I thought. But, yeah, like, the existing lore... See, here's my take on it in general, is that if existing lore is done fairly well, or at least consistently, then that builds a base that you can write tons of good stories from that alone. You don't need to cut away pieces of existing lore in order to create stories in that universe. The only time you need to do that is if you're making something that goes against what's previously established, which you probably shouldn't be doing.
Well, there are times when you gotta do that. Hey, Ryan Johnson. When when J.J. Abrams had to come in and be like, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, I gotta retcon the shit out of that movie."
Yeah, but that's when something was done incredibly poorly.
No, that's what I mean. Though.
Yeah.
It's like there are times to do it when something else went horribly wrong.
We need to
Doing
pull
it
some
for
holdo
the-
maneuvers. That's a 1 in a
Yeah.
million.
Doing it just because you want new things is not a good reason. Doing it because the old stuff is bad and actually breaks a lot of things is a good reason.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I like the way power armor works in Fallout 4. I love the fact that Bethesda has conceptualized power armor as being more like a vehicle instead of just a suit of armor. It's way more fun to use, it's beautiful, it fits in with the world, it's got amazing style. This is an example.
Hold on.
None of this addresses the problem.
None of
What?
it.
Yeah.
One, it's amazing to use. It fits in with the world and everything. If they were in the Fallout games, of course it fits in the world. Power armor has been in the Fallout games.
Well, honestly,
What
the way
Hey,
remove power cores and the individual power armor pieces from the equation, and power armor in Fallout 4 operates basically how I'd expect it to operate, where it is a vehicle that you're basically driving around.
yeah.
And Creed and I have talked about, we like how power armor is in Fallout 4.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't make up for the lore issues, but we like it.
exactly.
It's not an excuse.
Oh God, this is
It's so dumb.
Whoa.
Yeah, it works well. I like it, but that doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah.
This is an example of a retcon that I really like. I'm glad they did it. Yeah, it does make it inconsistent with previous Fallout games, but I personally think that it's worth it.
Okay, so the
Okay.
functionality
Oh, I
of power,
predicted he'd say that.
the functionality of power armor in Fallout 4 versus 3 New Vegas is less a retcon and more the functionality changing and how it works. What's a retcon is T60 and power cores,
Yeah.
fusion cores. $5 super chat from Static Nexus. Thank you. Soon Fallout lore will match our timeline, since USA might go to war with Communist China over Taiwan, and they threatened to use nukes on USA. Oh god.
Yeah.
A great happy thought.
Yeah.
Now here are some cons, and they're not really contradictions. Finding pipe pistols in pre-war safes. We know that pipe pistols are created by wastelanders and scavengers from bits and pieces of wood and metal that they happen to find around the wasteland. These are improvised weapons. What are they doing in a pre-war safe? This isn't part of the lore. This isn't a retcon or a contradiction. It's a game engine limitation. You see,
No, it's fucking not. Oh god, I fucking hate this argument. People use the same argument to defend jets and other post-war items being in pre-war locations. Bethesda literally has complete fucking control over what items spawn where. You can...
There's a tag system for each container that can, if you have a random thing on it, you can tag these items are allowed, these aren't.
Well,
It's not-
it works in a couple ways. Number one, there's the container inventory. You can put whatever the fuck you want in there that will spawn every time. But you can also make leveled loot lists. So, like, certain things might spawn in randomly, like a gun or chems or whatever. So, one time you might get buff out, one time you might get medics or whatever. Those, they also have complete control over, because those randomized lists have to be made, and they have to manually put the items into those lists that might possibly spawn, and the percentage chance they have to spawn, and how many will spawn, and so on and so forth. From that fact alone, they have complete control to make things spawn where they want. That's why when you open, for example, an ammo crate, you always find ammo in there, because they specifically set it up so ammo will always spawn in there. You're not going to find a stim pack in there.
Bear back a second, I'm gonna get myself some more water.
Yeah, no worries. And I should mention that earlier too. If any of you guys need to get up for a drink or use the washroom or fucking whatever, go ahead. But yeah,
Okay.
the game engine limitation for item spotting in places argument is fucking stupid.
I'll be right back. I gotta go help my grandmother bring some groceries in.
All right. My God, this. Like, people keep using this argument to defend any issues with the looting system, and it's just so fucking annoying every time, because if you look into it a little more than not at all, you find out that this argument doesn't fucking work at all.
And there's also better solutions than just breaking the lore, like the aforementioned just don't give the player power armor an hour into the game.
Yeah, that too. I guess we'll wait for Setch to come back. But yeah, this whole video so far has been just as shit as the last one.
I think it's a bit better in the sense that he's not calling me like a moron that needs to be cut off from society.
Incurable.
So I'll give him that. I think this one's better.
Yeah.
Although I still think the Matin videos are better than both.
I don't know anymore. After going through that Fallout 3 video again, I genuinely don't know anymore, because realizing just how badly he treated the other YouTubers when quoting them, that really bugs me. That's really fucking dirty.
I feel like, so to me, the Matin videos feel like he had this idea and he kind of just wrote a bunch of shit and then he didn't read through it at all.
Yeah.
Prime examples being like, the junk economy is an elegant solution.
Never fear, the Marine is here. I'm here to save you from the intricate junk and scavenging economy. The ludo-narrative harmony.
Like, Madden just feels like this really large, nonsensical rambling about Fallout 3 and 4.
Well, to me it seems, if I had to be very generous about it, it seems to me like a fanboy wanting to defend the thing he loves from all criticism.
I can't defend the fact that there are things in Mattin's videos that are inherently dishonest. Like the Indigo Gaming quote, I think. It's whoever was talking about Little Lamplight.
Yeah, that was Indigo Gaming. Because
think about
there's multiple super chat from Commander Drake. Thank you for 50 CZK. I'm not sure what that is.
Is that Czech Krona?
Maybe. They could have fixed Fallout 4 power armor by just by not removing the power armor training requirement from New Vegas in 3, or just make it obtainable only if the player joins the Brotherhood of Steel. Yeah, something like that could work. I wouldn't necessarily want players to be locked out of it if they don't join the Brotherhood, but there should be... It should be far more limited than what it is.
Oh, I got it right. It is Czech Krona. Only it's Corona.
Ah. But anyways, yeah. The Indigo Gaming quote is what I was going to talk about there. There's multiple issues with that, because I don't remember Indigo's exact quote, but he says something along the lines of, Lamplight limits your choice by completely disallowing intimidation or violence. John, many a true nerd, took this to be a complaint about, oh, well, you can't kill children. Well, that's not what Indigo said at all. He was talking about choice. Then John relates it to an issue of realism. Well, it's not realistic that you can heal yourself instantly with a stim pack or get better at something because you put skill points into it. So he's completely making a false equivalence there. And he's strawmanning him. Like, there's layers to the fallacies he's using. But then he goes on and talks about Paradise Falls and Rescue from Paradise. And all the choices, supposedly, this quest has. And he tries to make it into a far bigger issue of morality than it is. And then he quotes Indigo verbatim as if he just debunked what he said, even though what he said was about an entirely different part of the game. And it's really fucking dishonest. Insanely fucking dishonest.
Yeah, and let's not forget one of my favorite ones being people complain that the main quest there's not a lot of choice and options in the main quest line. Let me talk about these subquests and side quests.
Yeah, exactly.
What? You said specifically main quest. That was part of the criticism, and now you're just ignoring that.
Yep. And then he takes the one single example of a choice being found out in the world that exists, and he says, oh yeah, people didn't know there are extra choices because they're hidden in the world, and here's the only one that exists as my proof. That doesn't counter the criticism. That doesn't negate it.
Yeah. It isn't even related. That's the weirdest part.
Yeah, it's not even related.
Oh, it's so... Whoa.
And I feel like I'm being almost too nice when I describe it as Matten's videos do feel like someone writing an essay when they have an hour to turn it in. But like there are things that are just so explicitly nonsensical and dishonest that I can't help but wonder. Like,
yeah.
How do you read aloud like there's no food, but there's these 3 mole rats?
Oh god, yeah.
What?
It's crazy. And one of my favorite examples is New Vegas' intro is pure telling, not showing. Now let's go. They could have fixed this if they just had an NCR soldier down the road tell you the history of the NCR. Like, you're saying telling, not showing is a problem, but you're using telling as a solution to telling being a problem.
Yeah,
I'm
did
back.
you notice that they didn't tell you that the Legion existed in that cutscene? They showed you the Legion existed. They showed you their banner. They showed you sneaking around, and it was obvious they were not friends with the enemy they were circling. They were literally doing the thing you're claiming that they didn't do.
Yeah. Oh fuck, I had something on the tip of my tongue there too. Right. He seems to be taking telling, not showing, as like a hard rule set in stone, but it absolutely makes sense for things to be told in certain circumstances, especially in like a video game. You learn about the world by talking to characters, and they'll give you information that teaches you about the world. And like telling, not showing seems to be generally more about how characters feel, and that's why I used the Futurama example in my video. You can't just have characters announce how they're feeling. That makes me feel angry.
But to bring it back to Oxhorn, with Matten, it feels like someone just spouting off a random bunch of stuff to arrive at a, predetermined conclusion.
Oh yeah, he started with the conclusion and then made up everything else to fit it.
Oxhorn is more like it feels antagonistic. It feels dishonest at every turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost and it is like. Just think about the argumentation we've experienced so far, where it's double speak, going in circles, and stuff that's completely unrelated to the exact topic that you're bringing up. Fucking deathball tangent. What the heck?
Somebody said, I think John just wants to abolish dialogue. If John wanted to talk to me or Creed or anyone about like why we feel that way, I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, he's free to reach out. I don't expect it, but he's free to do so if he wants to.
What was I gonna say?
Also, yeah, I want to point out this comment quickly. Showing, not telling is more of a cinema rule. Yeah, that's fair.
It's like, how are you gonna do that in a book?
Yeah. Because I've been going through the Song of Ice and Fire books, and literally the entire world is described to you. It's like you can't not tell on text.
Yeah. Oh man, it is really like... God. I make myself sad thinking about all the nonsense that happened behind the scenes with that, and thinking that it discouraged George from writing. We'll get into another tangent. We're almost Hey, look at that. We're past the halfway point in this video.
Yep, we're only an hour and 40 minutes in, and we're past the halfway mark.
This is going by a lot faster.
Well, he's
Well,
saying a
it's-
lot less ridiculous bullshit, too. Like, it's still
Well, this
ridiculous, but...
This time, the
It-
structure isn't just you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid,
You
you're
have a
stupid.
disease that can't be cured.
The
you're-
point is actually like talking about stuff and then arriving at some arriving at a point that's being made.
Yeah.
We got a super chat.
Yeah, Ray Serrano for $5. Thank you. Favorite thing from Nerd's video is when he says it's a deep moral choice to either free slaves by killing slavers or not. What? Yeah, so there is literally zero downside for the capital wasteland if you, like, wipe out the slavers. Like, it is objectively a good thing to kill them off.
No, Kareen, the reason I'm saying show, not tell, in books is a lot harder than you think is because with Matten, his whole thing is that if you ever do tell, not show, you're committing a cardinal sin. It must be purged. It's so weird because as Creetosis brought up, he's saying that the opening cinematic is telling, not showing, when it's actually showing and not telling. And he says to fix this, you should go to a random soldier in Prim who should tell you about their history and not show you.
Yeah.
It's so it is special on so
Oh, I
many
remember
levels.
what I was gonna say now. Okay. So while I would be pretty happy if we could talk to Madden, like to fully clarify these are our issues with the game. You know, we don't hate the game like to an obscene degree. We just have a lot of things to say about it. The reason I'm kind of iffy on that is the fact that he made this kind of, odd claim that he has gone through like hour-long videos and spent loads of time researching, looking at these criticisms, and he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what gets me too is he hardly references any like specific arguments or posts or videos or anything. He mentions Shandification, Indigo Gaming, and then he references H-Bomb a couple times. And that's it. Like now it seems to me if you're watching, you're truly like researching the criticism, that you'd find a lot more to like, okay, so this criticism I found on this site says such and such, and a lot of people agree with it, so let's tackle this criticism, you know?
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Every single, especially locked containers, is going to randomly generate loot from a loot table. Now, it would probably be a Herculean undertaking to mark every single container in the game as either pre-war and post-war.
No!
No,
'Cause
it's
you can
not.
do it when you first place them. That
Okay,
ain't
so
that hard.
let me reveal a little secret to all of you. I actually looked in Fallout 4's game files. There is a leveled loot for chems and pre-war chems. It's literally the exact same fucking list, because Jed is in both of them. They could have made a pre-war leveled loot list and put it into, like, a container that's specifically marked pre-war. It's not... Haru... I can't fucking pronounce it right now.
Herculean.
Yeah, that. It's not that big of a fucking task to mark container. They're literally adding in hundreds of containers into the fucking game world. It is not difficult to mark some as pre-war, post-war, and putting them in the relevant locations. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
it's...
I have made some mods, like very low level stuff, but I have tweaked around with the GEC and stuff, and I have realized that when I try to put things into containers where I want them, because when I was first modding and I didn't really know a whole bunch about it, I put it in a container that was in this certain building because I thought, oh, well, it's its own container. And then when I played the game, it turns out that item was showing up in every single type of that container. They're basically all linked together. You have to create a like individual container in order for it to have individual loot that doesn't show up everywhere else. Because if you just put it
Exactly.
in that one type of container, it'll show up in all of those types of containers.
Yeah, what he's calling a Herculean task is something that the game developers fucking do anyways. Like, Why does ammo only spawn in gun cases? Why do meds only spawn in med cases? Like, it's... Oh, fuck. I don't get it. How do you come to these conclusions?
Somebody named Deadly Mixture said, "Hope you tear apart Skyrim someday. It's so overrated."
Will do. That's the next video we're actually working on. I'm going to try and stream more of Skyrim, continue to familiarize myself with it, and work more on the script.
And I drew the short straw, or rather, I punished myself the short straw. I'm doing magic only through my playthrough to really do a deep dive into why it's so shit in Skyrim.
I personally think that with Skyrim though, it's not going to be as harsh as Fallout 3 or 4.
Yeah, Skyrim definitely... There's a lot of issues with Skyrim, but it also has a few small positives here and there that I can talk about.
I think because Tess sets different expectations than Fallout does.
Yeah, that too.
They can't inherently fuck over their own lore because that's built into their own system, which is, again, why Dragon Break.
What I'm referring to is that Fallout is a lot more based in dialogue, writing, strong stories, and characters. And Bethesda's really, really bad at that. Like, really, 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 really bad.
Yeah.
Tess is more like, or this is how I see it, dungeon crawling and combat. Where Skyrim doesn't excel in this regard, but the way I see it as that Skyrim takes steps in that direction, but there are still issues I can single out with it. Like the dungeons, for example, all feel very samey because they all have Draugr in them.
Yeah.
That's an issue. But the dungeons are, in fact, all handcrafted. This is a step up from especially Oblivion, but, you know, previous games. I think it warrants praise that all the dungeons are handcrafted. Now, are they impressive?
Yeah.
Eh.
I think we need to discuss the handcrafted thing, because I think it's really easy to handcraft when you're copy-pasting these assets together.
Well, I mean, in a comparison to previous games. Because Oblivion's dungeons were all randomly generated. Morrowind had a randomly generated aspect to it. I think there is a level of detail that can be gained by handcrafting all your dungeons, and I don't find Skyrim's dungeons necessarily impressive. That's what I mean by in the sense of I see steps in the right direction.
Yeah, fair.
You can see there's dungeons like Labyrinthian, for example, where there are unique aspects to it. Because, you know, they're nothing insane, but there's like, you know, a skeletal dragon. You've got these unique Draugr that are nothing impressive. But you can tell Bethesda wanted to make something unique here, you know?
Sorry, I saw the next chat that came up. I don't like the
Somebody said,
the puzzles are too hard.
And there's other stuff like the fact that the claw puzzle I don't think would have been bad if they didn't do it 13 times, you know?
Yeah, if it had been a one-and-done thing for this particular thing, that could have been...
What I feel the issue with Skyrim's dungeons is that they lack any diversity.
Yeah.
One of the things that's so bad...
Now, I'm sure there's more that I'm missing here.
The Fisher-Price puzzle...
Yep.
Locks. And what I love so much about it is the very first dungeon you go into, you see somebody fail the fucking Fisher-Price puzzle locks.
Somebody said name one good character in Skyrim. So I think there's like one or two characters in Skyrim I like. I like Neloth, which ironically is not original to Skyrim. But it's also a thing of like a lot of Bethesda's characters I end up liking just because they're funny. They don't really have depth to them, you know. There's nothing that like blows me away.
I still think Skyrim's best character is the character Vinny played as when he was suplexing everyone to death.
Yeah.
I'm just going to grab the super chat quickly.
Yeah, we didn't
$2 from Xpank Haunts. Thank you. I'd pay to see Ox and Miniature Nerd debate Caption and Creetosis. Debate is probably not likely to happen. I'm open to discussion, but I don't think I'd be up for a debate necessarily. Because it just feels like there's too much pressure in a debate, you know?
I would love to have them come talk with us and everything like that, but I'll
I'd
be
be
honest,
happy
my
to talk to him,
bias,
but I don't have high expectations.
yeah, my bias
Yeah.
would be they've been so dishonest from everything we've seen. I don't think they would be honest when we talk with them normally.
Hold on, Neloth is voiced by Mung Dal. This is news to me.
Yeah, I do like what Father Logical said. The Fisher-Price dungeon puzzles just go to show that Bethesda views their target audience as being complete imbeciles.
Yep.
Remember, there are game developers that say they are actually designing their games so DSP can play them.
Oh, God.
I'm like, oh.
Huh?
And I was like, I thought that was a joke.
What?
Like,
It's not working.
no, they actually do. They have that as their mission statement. It's like, oh my god.
That's insane.
That's depressing.
It is very depressing.
Yeah, I liked Neloth, and I think Parthenax was okay. That's about it.
Parthenax, I think, was probably the best character.
But I think the best way to clarify why I feel Skyrim is in a better position than Fallout 3 and 4 is that Fallout 3 and 4 completely take everything that Fallout 1 and 2 built up and they smash it to pieces. They shit it out. They smear it all over the walls. It's terrible. Skyrim just feels like the continuation of a downward trend.
That's what my point was with
yeah.
Skyrim can't ruin its own lore because fucking up everything from the past is already built in as an in-canon, in-universe accepted thing.
I'm not just referring to lore here.
But no, that's what I mean. They can't physically damage the other games or anything because it's a built-in excuse they have.
Yes, what about the waifu bait Serana? I don't have many issues with Serana, to be honest. My only issue with Serana is separate from the writing of the character. It's the fact you cannot side against Serana.
I have a complaint about her. It bugs me that she bitches fucking non-stop in pretty much all of her companion dialogue. She complains about the weather, she complains about being in caves, she complains about this, she complains about that. It's fucking obnoxious.
We got a super chat.
Yeah, I saw that. I was gonna grab that. Oh god, I'm gonna fuck up the currency symbol again. That is £5?
You got it.
Good. From Gorbs. Thank you. Fallout 4 retcons are what happens when one company purchases the IP from of another and sells it to people on the surface details. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems Bethesda thinks all Fallout is power armor, ghouls, super mutants, Brotherhood of Steel. Just keep shoving that iconography everywhere. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh, and another one. I was gonna say, let's get back. We got another super chat.
Really? It hasn't shown up for me yet.
It's from a guy under a bridge who said that damn Shiogor has done retcon Cyrodiil again.
Thank you, guy under a bridge. Yeah, for some reason chat lagged again. That's happened a few times.
All right.
Let's get back to the
Sorry, I just have to point out one comment from our Lord and Savior God Howard. Titty mods.
In all caps.
War or post-war loot table for those particular containers. So Bethesda came up with one loot table for containers that is altered by your stats, your level, and your perks, and on that loot table you can find any gun in the game, including the pipe guns, which sadly...
Okay, so now.
Didn't he just say they would have to do the thing that they actually did?
Yeah, he did. And now he's basically saying they were too lazy to
And they were too lazy to do the thing they actually did.
Yeah. And he also said every gun in the game can be found on the loot table, which I'm suspicious of. I'm not sure any gun in the game could spawn in some of these locations. Some of them seem like far more limited than that. In fact, I'd wager that there's even going to be a specific pipe weapon loot list for just pure pipe weapons.
Sadly makes it possible for you in a safe when it should not be there. Of course, this could always be fixed by an energetic. I'm sure it's possible for a modder to.
Ooh, there's a skip there.
Yeah, because I heard Jeddick mutter. I'm like, what?
No, he said. Well, go ahead and replay it. But
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
bullshit.
the skip there is what really fucked up the audio for me.
Which sadly makes it possible for you to find a gun in a safe when it should not be there. Of course, this could always be fixed by an energetic modder. I'm sure it's possible for a modder to.
An energetic
Mods
modder?
to
Fuck
fix
you!
their
But, hey, wait,
games.
Don't worry, Bethesda doesn't rely on modders for their games at all.
Yeah.
But
Oh
they
my
need to rely on a
God.
modder to fix this issue.
God. Do you see what I mean by he contradicts himself in his
Yeah,
own videos? Like
constantly.
in different videos, he'll say one thing in one video and then completely contradict it in another. He does that all the time.
Yeah.
Good God.
Wow. Okay, so first of all, a game shouldn't need mods to fix it. This should really go without saying.
Yeah, if
But
you're
But
your
again,
game requires mods.
he's
Good.
framing it as this like huge monumental task when it isn't. The game is literally designed in such a way that yes, there are certain loot tables that spawn in certain areas. This goes back as far as Morrowind. This is why when you go into a fucking ancestral tomb, you'll open an urn and find like bone meal in there or like magical rings because that was the possessions of that person who died. You know?
Yep.
Like, I don't get it. How is he making this argument?
Karina, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly, asked, who's the best written faction Fallout 4?
In 4?
4, yeah.
Oh,
I would say Brotherhood.
Yeah, I think the Brotherhood kind of wins by default. Like, they've still got a lot of issues, but yeah.
yeah, I'll just have to default with what you guys say. Because, again, I didn't beat the game, so I don't know how much it goes crazy on that or anything, so.
My favorite part of Fallout 4 is when they shut the fuck up and the game is over.
No, but it's never over, remember? 'Cause
It
that's
never
what Oxhorn
ends.
says. It was so good, there's post-game immediately. It's never over.
The ride never ends. Mr. Bones' wild ride. Mr. Howard's wild ride never ends. It plays forever.
To split the table and to go through every single container in the entire game, in every building, and then mark each one.
Okay, Oxhorn, how do you think those containers got there?
In the first place, yeah. So here's the problem. Going back and fixing Bethesda's fuck-up would be a monumental task. But this is something they could have done in advance when they were making the game, so things make sense.
Since
So-
they already had 2 loot tables already in place, they just didn't use it.
Well, like, okay, let's give an example. Let's say I'm making 2 dungeons in a Bethesda game, in a Bethesda Fallout. One is a ruined house that has been held by raiders, and one is like an ancient facility that's been locked for 200 years. So I make these dungeons, so it's time to put the loot in. I put a container in one, I could put a container in the other. I'm not going to put the same container in both. I'm going to mark one pre-war and post-war, and put appropriate loot in each of them. That is really fucking simple to do when you're making the game. To go back into the game as a modder and fix that, you would have to go through the entire game world and find every instance of containers that don't match up with what loot should be there based on pre or post war.
Yeah. Oh boy. So I don't know how he doesn't get that. The moment they spawn the container there, they can literally click on it and be like, this is pre-war loot, this is post-war loot.
Yeah, it's
It's not a difficult task.
insanely simple to do.
Or post-war container, and then feed those containers the appropriate loot lists. If the lore is that important, someone will make the mod, I tell you that. But that's a game limitation. That's not really.
It's not a game limitation, you fat fuck.
That's a being lazy limitation. That's a not thinking things through limitation.
A
Oh,
lore
yeah.
issue. The big ret.
What's that?
Okay, I was gonna say, as Father Legend says, this argument by Oxhorn is just as dumb as Matten's. New Vegas doesn't have dungeons because there isn't enough loot to put in the dungeons.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
That argument is fucking insane. Holy shit.
Retcon that I think and that I don't understand is the one about Jet. We know where Jet comes from. Jet plays an important role in Fallout 2. In Fallout 2, we meet the inventor of Jet, a young boy genius named Mirnon. What makes this even more frustrating is we know...
Mirnon?
This is what you've been. This is what you wanted me to watch, isn't it?
Yes.
Mirnon.
You're not.
Oh my
What?
god.
Or is he the scribble doodle from SpongeBob? Hang on. What the fuck?
So, I could tell you guys what exactly that was just there. So, this is something that happens to me a lot, but if I'm reading something, I'm not paying as much attention to it as I should. If I'm just, like, going over it quickly and not paying a whole lot of attention, you might misread a word and not fully understand what it says. So I can't think of an example off the top of my head that this has happened to me with, but you might go along thinking, oh yeah, this word is pronounced such and such a way, and then you actually look back at the word and read it, like, however long later, whether it's an hour or a few fucking years, and you realize, oh, that doesn't say what I thought it did. I've been pronouncing it wrong in my head all this time.
Pride win.
Yeah, again, I thought it was Pride one.
Well, my
Well, that
run
one's more
clearly does
understandable
not
because
say
of the
Mirnon.
spelling.
Yeah.
But yes,
Well,
Myron...
yeah, but at least mine wasn't. I didn't call it like the Pride Witch or something like that.
Yeah. Well, actually, I do have an example. The starting town of Morrowind is Seda Neen, right? So, I only ever glanced at that when I was a kid because I wasn't paying that much attention to it. I just wanted to get out in the world and explore the game. So I always thought it was something like Sadia Neen. There's no A in there at the end. It's Seda Neen. Just an example. So, it comes across to me that he had to have read the wiki page on Myron, because Myron himself will actually tell you his name. He says his own name. You know how it's pronounced. How do you get Mirnon from Myron any other way?
Here, no. Oh god.
And how do you even get the E sound from Y?
Yeah. Again, that's why I thought it was the Pride win, not the Pridwin. What? I don't know. It just didn't work in my brain.
Well, see,
Pridwin.
even the seeming Pride win makes sense, because...
I thought it was Pridewin until an NPC said it was Pridwin.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
that's
could
what
read
think.
Myron, and, maybe I'll think it's like, maybe Mirren. Okay, sure. But Mirnon?
Mirnon. Yeah.
Yeah, that requires an extra N. There isn't two N's in there.
Oh god. So what's he gonna say about we know that Jet was invented way after the bombs dropped? What's he gonna say?
You want to find out, or you want to discuss it?
I love that it's okay that it because it's the drug it would have been passed over towards the east. I don't know.
Well,
Can't.
well-
That's me trying to assume the thing. He
This
already just
time is
said that.
convoluted.
He already just said that they're too lazy to have different lists, even though they already had different lists. So I don't fucking know where we're gonna go with this argument.
The lengths that to invent jet. He started with growing mushrooms because the nearby land at that time was so irradiated that it couldn't grow anything else. He learned that hallucinogens were plentiful in Brahmin dung. This is because before the war, big meat companies had experimented with a cheap protein extract for growing food. However, they couldn't sell this for human consumption because it reacted with bacteria, so they fed it to cattle. These cattle that were fed the cheap protein extract mutated and evolved to become Brahmin. These Brahmin inherited a mutation from their ancestors who were fed this cheap protein extract that caused their feces to give humans intoxicating hallucinations. Knowing this, he mixed the intoxicating fumes of the Brahmin dung with the mushrooms he had grown, lysergic acid, dithylamide, psilocybin, and THC. The resulting concoction was jet. You see, we know a whole lot about how jet was invented. And yet in Fallout 4, we find terminal entries in the Vault-Tec corporate headquarters talking about sending a shipment of jet to Vault 95. It's not that we just found jet in Vault 95. That could easily be explained away by just saying it's game mechanics, like I talked about earlier. But no, this is an actual terminal entry that says jet. We, Vault-Tec, shipped jet to Vault 95. That should not be able to exist. That is a legitimate, contradictory alteration retcon. Now, this can be explained away if you really, really, really want to.
Whoa! Okay, hold on. No. No. I was gonna praise you for finally admitting they fucked up, and it is an actual contradiction. I was gonna be so proud and happy. They're like, oh my god, Oxhorn can think, and now he's immediately like, but it's not actually a contradiction because we can explain it.
We can excuse it. We could bullshit a reason for it to make total sense, even though it doesn't.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. Like, oh, nice job! You finally understood something, and then but immediately followed up with, now let me explain why that's bullshit.
All right, hit it. Let's hear it, Oxhorn.
Simply say that if anyone was going to discover the fact that Brahmin feces had intoxicating qualities, it would probably be a pre-war institution like MedTech that had the money and the laboratories and the people to experiment on something like Brahmin dung.
So, let's go into...
First of all...
Why did they call it Jet? The names... Why would the names be similar? At all.
Yeah.
Like, that just doesn't fucking work. But also, it's a medical tech company. They don't invent drugs like narcotics, okay? It's not their goal. They aren't thinking, man, if I snip this here dung with this here thing, I can get so high. It's like, that's not what. Why would the medical company do that?
Well, here's the other problem too. Actually, there's a couple. He mentioned, why wouldn't the company experiment on Brahmin? Because Brahmin didn't fucking exist before the war. They're a mutation from the war. But more than that, this entire defense is just shit he's making up. The game doesn't explain that Jet is totally pre-war. They just say it is, and there's no explanation for it. So now he's coming up with, well, a medical company could have experimented. This could be the reason why. Well, no, that doesn't work. You can't do the writing for the writers.
Now we can assume this if we also assume that the intoxicating property of Brahmin dung was also in cow dung, the cows that had been fed the experimental meat.
At least he covered that aspect, but it's still, like, he's literally saying assume. We can assume this, we can assume that. That doesn't work as a defense. What is factually there is what matters. Because you can write off literally almost any fucking problem by saying, well, if we assume this, if we infer that, you know,
No, but Kree, objectivity is bad. Subjectivity is all that matters.
Man, God Howard is dedicated to this role. I salute you, sir. I made Brahmin exist pre-war.
Wouldn't surprise me if Bethesda starts doing stuff like that. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, that's how they fix their problems. They just make more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Product. Maybe med about these cows being fed this product, then experimented on their dung, found the intoxicating qualities of the dung, and then produced Jet. If that were the case, then Mirnan didn't invent Jet.
Oh my
he
God.
reinvented Jet.
Okay, so even if Jet was discovered pre-war, and Miranon, I can't believe he's fucking with my head. Myron. If Myron reinvented Jet according to Oxhorn, then he's still like inventing it himself because he doesn't know the entire process behind the original creation. If that's the case, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody said, I'm surprised you people seriously think New Vegas 2, 1, or 3 are better than Shelter. Shelter's the greatest gift to Earth.
I still can't believe I fucked that up after. Oh my God. This video
He
is
said
making my
it.
brain melt.
He said the thing.
Well, I think it's just like he just said it, and then it's in my head. Okay, this is who he's referring to. He's referring to Miranon, not Myron.
Yeah,
because
he's done this to me before too. Trust me, it's
oh my God.
yeah, it's easy to forget like what the actual thing is when you just heard him say it a certain way. Yeah, I know exactly how that is.
Is Jet a pre-war thing or a pre-war thing?
Tech or a company the original Jet, which is why we find it mentioned by Vault Tech, and Mirnan simply reinvented it. I have a problem with that theory just because it takes a whole lot of what ifs. And I'm comfortable with taking what ifs if they make sense, but we really have to stretch with this one. In particular, Mirnan's Jet came from Brahmin dung. Brahmin did not exist before the war. Brahmin are mutated, evolved cows and cattle. I find it highly unlikely that an addictive aspect of Brahmin dung would have remained unchanged while the animal itself changed from a cow to a Brahmin over the span of a couple hundred years, which is what we would be forced to assume if it was already intoxicating before the war. At any rate, I wanted to talk about retcons today because I think retcons are more often than not a good thing. It's good
What?
that developers have enough passion about Fallout 4 and the Fallout franchise that they want to grow it, that they want to make it different.
No, you
That's
don't
not what they're
grow
doing!
something by fucking burning it down.
Yeah, that's the opposite of passion. This is like disinterest. This is I do not give a shit about this franchise or what happened before. I'm going to throw it away, burn it, and I'm going to change it to suit my needs. Fuck the actual original thing. Oh my God, this is dumb.
God, we're just talking about lizard sex now.
So he's a fan of the frontier.
Deathclaw sex
yeah.
makes my wee wee go boing, and then several emoticons of fucking lube. And another comment. Oxhorn isn't wrong about Myron's name. He's just retconning it.
Oh yeah, nice.
But yeah, there's plenty of people who are passionate about things they did not create that take extreme effort to adhere to the existing lore. Like, how can you say it's a good... This is his reason for why lore-breaking changes are not a big deal, because right or freedom, they care. If they cared, they wouldn't be breaking it.
Exactly. Like, that's why it pisses me off so much that he's like, oh, the fact that they care so much and they're so passionate about this franchise, they wouldn't be doing this then. They wouldn't be fucking it over like this if that was the case, you idiot.
And yeah, Pink Haunts just said, once again, we aren't going to behold ourselves to something that was written 20 years ago. That's, like, exactly the point. That's them outright saying they don't care about what has been established before. We're going to do what the fuck we want regardless. We're almost done.
We can't expect to come out and be exactly the same. That would be boring. That would only please the hardcore fans. And of course...
What? How would
No,
it
it
be
wouldn't.
boring if, like... Oh my god. You can expand on the lore in interesting ways while keeping it consistent with what existed before.
I would answer this with a question of how is Jet being pre-war exciting? How is
Yes.
T60 exciting?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I fail to see what it added that warranted these lore changes.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is kind of like what I was talking about before, about where he would say, there's inconsistencies, there's lore breaks, but they're a good thing. Like they added stuff that's cool and exciting and stuff like that. And it's like, but they didn't, because like we were mentioning before, adding fusion cells and all that nonsense didn't help anything. It didn't improve anything. It didn't need to be changed. It just made it worse.
Yeah. I want to point out a couple comments right here quickly. God Howard. Oxhorn likes gay. He just likes them on the streets.
Yeah. Oh god.
And Mirthful made a good comment. They're growing the franchise by copy-pasting the first two games. It's grown into a never-ending circus of the Brotherhood of Steel fighting the super mutants and every other recognizable monster. Yep. That's exactly it.
Yeah. So for him to be like, oh, they care. They're making new changes. They're changing things. No, they're not. They're
I
not
feel like
changing
also
anything.
The fact that they moved over to the East Coast gave them a lot of content for them to create by themselves. They didn't need to change stuff.
Yeah.
Like, for example,
Yeah.
you didn't need to put scorpions on the East Coast because that doesn't make sense. Come up with your own monsters.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a lot
What's
of room
the-
there to create new things if you really wanted to, but they don't. They're relying too much on the iconography of the series.
Well,
I forget. Was the Centaur in the previous games? I'm drawing a blank on that.
It was in Fallout 1.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind that. I was about to say maybe they made Centaur, but nope, they didn't even make that.
I'm pretty sure they made Mirelurks.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That one enemy no one really cares about.
I think Kree and I looked into this while we were working on the Fallout 3 video. How Tim Kaine talked about, he felt that the story with the super mutants and the Brotherhood of Steel and on the Enclave, he felt like that was a story for the West Coast. And one of the gripes he had with Bethesda is that they're not making their own new thing. Instead, they just feel like they're randomly pulling influence for no reason and just shifting it to a new area. And as a consequence, you just have this story that feels like a massive, boring rehash that isn't that good.
Yeah. I also want to point out quickly, too, that Bethesda has made 3 Fallout games if you ignore Shelter. Fallout 3, Fallout 4, and Fallout 76. And each of them have Brotherhood and Super Mutants, Brotherhood and Super Mutants, Brotherhood and Super Mutants. I guarantee Fallout 5 will have Brotherhood and Super Mutants no matter the fucking setting.
Yeah.
And like God Howard says, big robot. It will have big robot.
Oh yeah, we haven't seen the last of Liberty Prime.
Nope.
Holy shit, Oxhorn does sound like a Last Jedi fan. He's using many of the same arguments that Defenders of the Last Jedi use.
Yeah. Which is
Shelter is my
Fair.
gift to you.
He definitely shits on fucking the originals enough to be a fucking modern Star Wars fan. It
Yeah.
didn't change anything. It wasn't influential.
oh god, yeah, and it's not fair to compare a sequel to the thing it's sequelizing.
Yeah, what a crazy fucking statement.
Oh.
It's so fucking like, what bizarro planet do you live on, Oxhorn?
Bethesda wants to grow, got to appeal to new people. Limiting the game to only what we already know also stunts creative growth.
No, it doesn't. It forces you to
something
work
new.
within the bounds. Do you
And
realize?
you mean like that thing that they did?
Do you
Makes you
realize how
more
many
creative.
projects have been limited by budget or time constraints, and or even lore, I guess, and have come out with like amazing fucking results?
Yeah. Fucking
Yeah.
New Vegas. Bam. Got him.
And there's there's a really well known well, maybe not, but there's video series and stuff that talk about like some of the amazing things that have come out because of limitations and budgets, where they had to work around these things in a creative way. They couldn't just throw money at it and make something. They actually had to have creativity and imagination to create these things, to get around these obstacles. So that's not an excuse.
Yeah, it like there's also cases of where total freedom has resulted in really bad results too. You know, like people overestimate what they can do because they have a big budget, or they put too many bells and whistles on, so on and so forth. That I don't know. It's just a dumb argument that, oh hey, we don't have to adhere to the lore. That's makes more potential for writing. No, it doesn't. Makes more
Kid in a
potential for
fridge is my
fucking
gift
issues.
to you.
I'm surprised he didn't bring up Kid in a fridge, and with like less than 3 minutes left, I doubt he will.
Yeah. He won't. Because he's
I mean, he hasn't really addressed hardly any of the actual like valid criticisms people have had, other than like Jet, and he
Jet's the
pretty
only-
much hand waved it away.
Yeah.
He said, because his excuse was, well, there is this excuse, which not even I believe, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, and then he did do, yeah, the power armor stuff is a retcon, but I like it, so it's fine. That literally, he was like, it's okay that they contradicted and retconned it because I liked it.
Oh, Daniel K pointed out a really good example I forgot. Silent Hill Fog was a technical limitation. They turned it into an icon of the series, yes. On the PlayStation 1, the render distance could only go so far, and they included the fog, so area outside of the fog could load in and unload without the player seeing it, and it turned into a huge fucking staple of the series. It's such a big deal that you're shrouded in fog the entire time. It adds so much to the atmosphere. Let's finish this.
Love the fact that Power Fusion Core and requires a power armor frame, and we would be missing that if Bethesda felt so to the lore that they didn't feel that they had the creative freedom to make this kind of retcon. So retcons are
Good. I am totally fine if the power armor bullshittery and fusion cores never came in. That is 100%.
Yes. It would unironically be better if they never fucking conceived of fusion cores.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing to say.
Fucking
That's just
hell.
all I'm thinking.
They didn't even need to add the T60 armor is the thing. Like, they could have just changed the mechanics like they did, with like the vehicle stuff. Just remove the fusion cores and don't give the fucking power armor out at the very beginning of the game, and boom, you're good. You don't even need to add new types. They're basically completely new anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they wanted to make new power armor, we already talked about it earlier. You could have the Brotherhood or even an entirely new group come in and build new power armor types. Like,
Yeah.
you have a group like the Institute. Why didn't they make their own power armor?
I think they had that, and it was cut.
Yeah, they had like that weird like juggernaut red and white looking one, but it never made it into the actual game. It was just concept art.
bad thing, and I think that we can blame Bethesda for making retcons in Fallout 4. The only retcons that
absolutely
I
can't
don't
blame them,
like
sorry.
are unnecessary ones.
These are unnecessary.
How? I feel like I am repeating myself. The fact that the power armor changes were not necessary, just move it to be a late game item.
Yeah.
Retcons new to the world. They're not creative, they don't make the world more interesting and dynamic, they're just lazy or simple mistakes. Like the deal with
You literally defended laziness earlier. You literally said use the loot fucking
The
system.
monumental task is what he's.
Modders
Yeah.
can fix it.
Yeah, and then he said modders will fix it, which in a previous fucking video he said modders don't fix their game for them.
do was not put that terminal entry in the Vault-Tec headquarters, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. That one terminal entry is the only thing that bothers me. I even don't mind finding Jet in Vault 95, because we could have always said that the Gunners brought it there. I wouldn't even mind finding it in that locked container, because then we could always just say, well, it's a game mechanic. It's an issue.
No.
Well, it's cool that you don't care, Oxhorn, but you're not everybody, okay?
Thank God, too. Some of
Yeah.
us have standards.
One of the worst arguments you can use to defend something is, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine with it. Well, it doesn't matter if you're fine with it. The problem is it's
I don't
an
care
issue
that your dad
exists.
died. It's not my problem. I don't care that your dad died. He's not my dad, so I'm fine with it. Well, cool, thanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Issue with the loot table. That terminal entry in the Vault-Tec headquarters in downtown Boston, we can't make that excuse, which simply makes this a lazy retcon, which is a contradiction, and it bothers me. But not enough to be peeved at Fallout 4, not enough to stop playing, and not enough to have the entire experience ruined for me. Let's pick our battle.
No one... I would be shocked if the entire experience was ruined by Jet being listed as being pre-war. Like, it's a death by 1,000 cuts. No one single issue destroys Fallout 4. It's everything combined.
Yeah, Jet is not the only lore break here.
Also, biggest annoyance with Fallout 4, XO2 armor, because, hey, we need Enclave stuff! Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I fucking love the Enclave. I like the design of the XO2 power armor. It just shouldn't be in the game. It makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's choose when and when not to be offended, when and when not to take up arms in angry rebellion, and let's enjoy things for what they are.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. He's just blaming it on us.
Yep, of course.
Take up arms in angry rebellion. Fuck off.
My expectations are too high for the games to have continuity.
You're just diseased. You need continuity because you have a disease.
That can't be cured. Sorry.
Yep.
And there's that statement again too. We should just enjoy it for what it is. Like, okay, so that's again a terrible. It's not even an argument. It's a terrible fucking thing to say because it's literally just consumed product.
Yeah. Here, I put some actual dog shit on your plate. You should just enjoy it for what it is. Eat it. Consume fucking product.
Wow. Ox is really batting 1,000 with these videos.
That is the secret to we spend our money on, and that's also the secret to simply being happier people. But all of
Oh,
this is
fuck
just one
off.
man's opinion.
Yeah, be deluded, be dishonest, destroy, like, call other people horrible things and attack them constantly. That's how you're happy.
Don't
Yep.
think,
Turn your
just
brain
consume.
off. Turn your brain off and be an asshole. That's how you fucking get through it.
Don't think, just consume. Fallout 4 good.
What do you retcons, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think that retcons should just simply be forbidden and no one should ever do anything that could possibly be seen as a contradiction? Or do you think that Bethesda
Shut the
and
fuck
other
up.
creators are free to make addition retcons and even alter
There's no such thing as addition retcons. It's just expanding the lore.
You see how he just poisoned the well some more too? How he was like, the way he described like people's problems with the retcons is just, well, you can't make any changes ever. Or do you think it's okay to sometimes make changes that are reasonable? And it's like, dude, you're poisoning the well more. That's all you're doing. You're just
This
fucking.
stuff with Jet and the power armor training stuff is, according to his own definition, that is not an addition retcon. They actually went back and changed things. Things were not added.
Yeah. And like we said earlier, retcons are fine if you're fixing something that's already broken. Like, Rise of Skywalker, fucking garbage movie, but at least it tried to fix some of the issues of The Last Jedi, which was even fucking worse.
Yeah. Retcons can work if they fix something. If there's like a plot hole that isn't explained, you can retcon it so that it makes sense.
Yes.
It's within reason. That's the thing. It needs to be within reason. You can't just change something because you just want to change it for no other reason than I want to add this, but it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And the thing is, Bethesda isn't even doing anything interesting with the retcons they're doing. Kid in a fridge, Jet in a pre-war vault, power armor. Like, why did Enclave power armor or XO2 power armor have to be pre-war? And they doubled down on this by confirming it in Nuka World by having that special set of power armor. What does this add to the series? How does this make it more interesting when you change something like that has already existed? What does Kid in a Fridge add to, like, the story of the world or the lore? It just breaks what already existed because, I don't know, they had a neat little idea that they wanted to do that makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, exactly. They want to act like these changes are like amazing and like they're interesting, but then really all it is when you look at it, it just makes you say, well, that doesn't really make sense. And that's all you focus on. That's all you can think about because that's all it is.
Yeah.
There's nothing interesting there. It's literally it just makes you say, well, this doesn't make sense. And if that's all it makes you think, then it clearly wasn't that interesting to begin with.
Yeah. We're almost there.
Yep.
duration retcons. It's important. Let me know in the comments section below. I read all of your comments and I use them as inspiration for my future videos. And did you know that I had a t-shirt shop? I realize I mention it in every
Oh,
video
thank
that I
God,
produce,
he's shilling
but I'm
merch.
working with the guys at Teespring to produce new shirts based on the results of the poll that I put out a few days ago. Thank
Anyone
you all
in
for
chat what an
participating.
Oxhorn
We've
shirt?
got some wonderful
Yeah.
To burn it, maybe. Use it as kindling.
results, and we're going to have some new shirt designs that are Fallout 4 inspired coming out soon. If you'd like to see the designs I've already got available for you, you can find a link to my Teesprings shirt shop in the description below. And if you like what I do and you want to support me in a more personal way, consider becoming one of my patrons on Patreon. Patreon subscribers get
Okay, I
access
thought
to
there
a
was gonna
private
be
channel
like
on my
a
Discord
last
server,
little thing,
as
but it
well as
looks
a
like
bunch
he's
of
just
other
showing
cool
his stuff.
Oxhorn
That's
perks.
Yeah.
But
Thank
more
God.
than anything, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just so glad you're here watching this video with me today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning as always, bright and early, with a brand new video.
Imagine how embarrassing it would be to actually be caught in the real world wearing fucking Oxhorn merch.
Yeah. You know what? I want to make myself depressed, so here we go. Oh, look, he has 192 patrons.
192. That's it?
At $7,000, I can relax a little bit. I can grow my team to do more community content. Wow!
You have a
Fuck off.
team?
Wow. Yeah, okay, well, I just made myself depressed.
Yeah, what team? There's no editing. There's no anything. It's just him talking over footage. There's
Yeah.
literally nothing here that would require a team.
people like collectively agree that a video of just 20 minutes of saying you need to lower your expectations is like that's like people approved of that?
Oh god.
Well, at least it's over.
No, he dresses like a snake oil salesman. Father Logical. Not a hobo, a snake oil salesman. And again, if nobody confirmed if it was beard tonic or if it was beard oil or whatever, but it sounds pretty fucking snake oily to me.
Well, hey,
Yeah, his podcast where he like just wears a fedora, smokes a cigar, wears overalls, and occasionally takes a sip of whiskey that he clearly can't handle is really funny to me.
Oh, God, I love fedoras so much. I think they're beautiful, and I got one right before the Milady storm.
Feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah, and so that thing has been sitting in its hat box for over a decade.
Thanks,
Oh.
Creetosis. This was painful.
Oh.
You're welcome. It was fucking painful. At least this went
Yeah.
by a lot faster than the last one, though. The
I
last
think
one was
this
just...
video is a step up from the last one.
Yeah. Does this one
Yeah.
come out before or after that?
It's kind of a step up because he didn't go off on random weird tangents and make like wild claims out of every other second. Oh crap! He thought he was being more laser focused, but his the stuff was still shit. But in the other one, he was just like machine gunning points, like Half-Life 3 is never coming out. Half-Life wasn't that influential. Half-Life 2 wasn't that good. Star Wars wasn't that influential. You can't compare sequels to sequels. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the rest of it was literally just shitting on critics and being like, "Well, you're just diseased and stupid and
Yeah,
can't be
that's what
cured,
I'm
and you're an
referring to.
idiot."
You're not
That's what
allowed to criticize games because you don't make games.
That's what I'm talking about when I say this is a step up.
Yeah,
Less insulting.
slightly.
Yeah,
Although
I
he
was
had to get it in there at the end.
Yeah. I was honestly expecting more of that kind of thing, too, that, the people complaining about retcons are toxic and horrible and blah, 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 blah.
It's what I thought I'd get.
How often do you do these streams? We've only done this twice, this being the second time, and I have no idea if it's going to be a regular thing or not. We'd have to find more videos to cover. These were the only two I had essentially planned for some time.
Yeah.
Someone in the comments, I have to find it. Could you guys do react to the Acerthorn video? Maybe at some point. I don't know if anyone is up for it right now, and I don't know what the video really contains, but yeah. Maybe.
Oh god, do his defense of 76. I have seen at least one of those,
Oh god.
and oh my god, it was so terrible.
See, I don't... last time I played 76 was a long time ago, and I don't intend to touch it again, so...
Yeah, it's pretty well dead anyway. Almost nobody plays it.
One of
so-
my friends, I think, got a free copy of it recently, and he says it's not impressive, but it's like it's improved. I don't know
Yeah.
anything about it because I haven't touched it.
I've heard a little bit that it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still not great. Its player base has been like dwindling, especially when a lot of the hardcore players kept getting like the people who were doing bug fixes and stuff for them got banned for bug fixing the game. That's when a lot of people really started getting like, okay, fuck this, we're done.
I know. I do know one of the more egregious things, and I think somebody mentioned it in chat, is that they have like FEV bats that are effectively dragons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. And then like sometimes they won't die.
Just reading out a comment. Again, all I want is consistency from this franchise. If me pointing out obvious faults is toxicity, then hot damn, I'm toxic. Yeah, I agree.
Toxic brood.
I will gladly jump in the toxic brood, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go.
it's insane that asking for basic consistency and adhering to established facts of the series is toxic or somehow like a bad thing. That's fucking
Yeah.
insane we've reached that point.
Somebody says they prefer 76 over 4.
Huh.
I
don't
could
know about
see
that.
it if you have friends to play with. So then it's kind of that
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
the shared experience.
Anything
You
is
can play
better with
everything
friends,
moves.
so
That's true.
yeah,
So I can
yeah,
see
that is
that.
true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, that's a good point. Because even General Sam did videos on that game when he was like, he's very relentless about how much he hates that game, but he's like, it's still fun just because I got to play it with my friends, and that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
So-
just noticing something here. The thumbnail for his old fellow fucking video, and like, it's hard to see because the text is over her, but she looks scantily clad. Like, yeah.
Oh,
looks
it
like
is
she's-
Oxhorn.
Which probably is. And look at Fallout 3 Franklin Station. Like, gotta emphasize the bust and everything.
Man, an hour-long video talking about a fucking metro station in Fallout 3. Why?
Somebody just says everything is better with friends, and then in all caps, AIDS isn't.
AIDS is it?
We fit the box.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Fallout 76, Angry Joe kind of redeemed himself a little bit after that, because God knows that he gave that really awful review of Fallout 4 when it first came out, where he was like, "Oh, it's 8 out of 10, badass seal of approval. It's basically perfect. All this shit."
Well,
I think
there
his
was
Skyrim
that.
review is what turned me away from Angry Joe.
yeah, because
Yeah,
he gave
well,
that one a 10 out of 10, and
He got
like-
a lot of flack for the Fallout 4 review, and then he kind of went
there's
back
a lot
and
of-
he kind of went back and was like, okay, I was wrong. It's not as good as I thought it was, but it's still not terrible. Then Fallout 76 came out, and he did a review where he showed a lot of clips of him playing it with friends, and they were like they really went in depth about all the things that were wrong with it. He did a pretty good job with that one, but yeah, but I mean, it didn't
That's
save him
definitely
later
a
because he did go on to do other stupid shit. But
yeah, I don't trust the opinions of someone who hands out 10 out of 10s like fucking candy.
yeah, and he really does.
and badass seals of approval. That's, oh my god.
Yeah. Ugh.
We talked about it when I was writing for him. That the whole Guild Wars 2 thing where I kept fighting back against him, like, Joe, you can't give it a 10 out of 10 badass seal of approval. He's like, why not? And then I would go into like intricate detail about if the game had no end game, the dungeons were terrible, not having, the Holy Trinity meant they couldn't design interesting combat encounters. Like, I was going through this and explaining how, like, me and Krillix beat me to max world completion, and then I got there right after him. We were, he was like third, and I was like fourth in the world for completion on that server, and just, oh boy, we were talking about how it's bloody boring, and Joe's like, nonsense. So he does his review, 10 out of 10, badass seal of approval. Not even a week later, he quits the game because it's boring. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to like him, but he makes it so hard. The stuff he
haven't
does and says, it makes it so hard.
Dude, I feel so bad for the guys that made the Terminator game. When he starts bitching about the lasers being the wrong color, not realizing that they get the appropriate laser color when they get the appropriate tier of weapon to actually fight the Terminator. That shit was so bad, because that game is actually really, really good.
Someone named 666 brought up how the loading screens of Fallout 4 contradict each other by saying T60 is the best and T51 is the best.
Nice.
10 out of 10 game, clearly.
Wait, what? What do you guys think of the Hellcat armor and T65 armor added in 76?
I have
They
not
did?
played 76.
They did that?
I did the 76 press thing and was like, this is atrocious, terrible, and I will never touch it again.
Everything I've heard about 76 is from like 2 friends I have that played the game like a month ago.
Creetosis, have you gotten around to reading Berserk at all? I've read some of it, but not all of it. I need to get into it more.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Oh, I love it.
Anyways, I guess that's about it, unless you guys want to talk about anything else.
Mm,
I don't know. Like, you want to start up a game thing? It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, I could do some gameplay of something. I'm not sure what right now, but yeah. I'll do a game stream, I guess. In a bit, not right away. It might be like another half hour to an hour or something. If you guys want to come back, definitely cool.
I'll be
Yeah.
busy. Someone else is expecting me.
Huh?
I'm gonna be in a call with someone else, but I can hop in on chat.
That's fair. If you're busy with other stuff, you don't like. There's no obligation to you guys.
I know. I'm just telling you.
yeah, I might.
All right.
But yeah, if you are going to be doing more of these types of streams,
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know right now, because these
I
two
think
videos.
I think we should, but let's not do another Oxhorn video. Let's
Oh
try to
yeah,
find somebody
I've had
Okay.
enough Ox for
Yeah.
now.
Father Logical wants you to load up the Sunset Sarsaparilla video.
Well,
Respond
that's
to
just one of his lore videos. I'm not really sure if I want to dig into that.
Yeah, there's not really much there. It's just like he made like one or two errors in a normal lore video, so there's not really a lot to talk about.
And as it is, his lore videos are just glorified Let's Plays anyways. So
Yeah, it's really not worth a look. Yeah, guys, we don't really want to just do random videos. We kind of want to have like, something planned. Like we like it needs to have some sort of content that we can talk about and pick apart, not just a random video with maybe one or two things in it.
yeah.
Martin Thompson says you should play Skyrim.
I say no. Keep going with Black Mesa. Go with Black Mesa.
Well, I need to play Skyrim regardless to do the video.
I mean, that's true, but see, if you start doing that, then I'll have to start doing that. Now, I'm trying to put off the pain, okay?
Well, hey, I want to make sure I get the Skyrim video done this year. Ideally for November, but no promises.
In fact, I'll start downloading Skyrim right now. we're gonna have to start working on that, so.
Yeah.
One thing I will say before we hop off is I wanted to mention it earlier, but I didn't want to like distract the video because I wanted it to end as fast as possible. One of the things about Pete Hines that pissed me off was because somebody just reminded me they brought up Creation Club.
Oh god.
Yeah, Pete Hines. I remember back when he said like when Creation Club came out, he was basically calling it like it's not paid mods, it's mini DLC. And then he would say shit like, well, we're not going to remake stuff from the old games that you're going to have to pay for. It's going to be completely new content. And then they made the fucking Chinese stealth armor that you had to pay for. And yeah, and people got real upset about that one. And then he was like, and then he tried to like come back and like, well, I never really said that we were never going to make stuff like that. We weren't going to make stuff from the previous games. It's our games after all. We should be allowed to make it. And it's like, okay, yeah, it's stuff from your games, but you said yourself that you weren't going to make stuff from the previous games that we would then have to pay for. And that's exactly what they did. But then he tries to be like, but it's our game, so it doesn't matter.
Syrian Hayes said, I want a full takedown of H-Bomb's Dark Souls 2 video by someone. I love H-Bomber guy, but god, that video is atrocious.
I was gonna mention
Mahler
that.
did one.
Mahler
did one.
Yep.
10
Yes.
hours
Who else
long.
can do it? Yeah. If you want it in intricate detail, Mahler did it.
Yeah.
The Lord of the Long.
And
Lord usually did. He did it.
some people in chat were bringing up Mr. Matty Plays' videos too, defending Fallout 4. I suppose we might be able to look at that at some point.
I'd love to do one where I know way more intricate detail about it, because again, I couldn't get to the end of Fallout 4 because I was driving myself insane.
Yeah. I'd really like to do a video where they actually, make points and go over stuff about the game rather than just criticizing people for having standards.
Well, after watching these two Oxhorn videos, I'm kind of coming to a conclusion that these are content videos. And what I mean by that is he needs to upload content, so he's just going to ramble about a topic. And not get to anything substantive or get into the discussion, really. It's just, yeah, here's this and this, video over, goodbye.
Yeah, it's a very general overview of something that he doesn't put a lot of thought or depth into. He just kind of, well, here's so like they like to complain about lore. Well, I'll say a couple of general things, make some headcanon about them, about how I think that it should have worked, like to explain it away, and then I'll shit on them really out like a little bit at the very end, poison the well a little bit, then in the video, and that's about all you get.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 second. Be right back.
Somebody named Falcon Lover asks, the golden question is Shelter or Godfather?
Like Fallout Shelter or Godfather is in the movie Godfather?
I'd assume.
So, I played a little bit of Fallout Shelter and I fucking hate it. It seems like a typical phone game where everything is like pay to win. There's the typical cash shop you'd expect. I haven't actually seen The Godfather, so...
Oh.
Okay, for a moment I thought you were actually taking the time to explain why you liked The Godfather more than Fallout Shelter.
I've never seen The Godfather, but I could guarantee whatever it is, I'm going to enjoy it more than Fallout Shelter.
Command you to take a 10-hour review of Fallout Shelter.
Well, again, the Salt Factory has a Fallout 4 review where he's not entirely negative on it. You could react to that. We don't want to just do reactions. I guess maybe it sparks a debate and a conversation, but then that's kind of difficult. Like, that's what's good about these. Like, going through, we can, like, spark on a debate, and going on tangents is fun and stuff like that, but it's just one of those, like, yeah.
It could be difficult to watch something like that because of the fact that a lot of it will come down to, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of empty, quiet space is the thing. We don't really want that.
Yeah, I will be back. I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yeah, even with the video...
So I will be right back.
Alright. Yeah, even with the video we covered today, there's a lot to respond to, but I still felt like there's chunks that went on a little bit too long without us responding. But that's just because we didn't really have much to say for certain parts.
Yeah, there wasn't much to respond to sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when we just made the point before, and then he says the exact same thing again, and it's like, well, we're not going to stop just to rehash what we just said.
I command you to review Skyrim 4 times. Well, I'm glad he didn't say once for each console.
Oh my god.
That would be painful. Anyways, yeah, Setch is away right now, but I think I'm probably going to end the stream here.
Okay.
Probably going to do a game stream a little later. Not sure how long. But, yeah. You could cover Joseph Anderson's Fallout 4 video. That's the thing, though, is generally I like his Fallout 4 video. You should react to old Oxhorn videos. I've had enough Ox for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, have a good night, everyone. See you later if you come out to the game stream. If not, then see you around. Have a good one. One last thing. Setch has a Twitch channel and a YouTube channel, which are linked in the